Gonna bridge the gap. This is a show where the idea is to bridge the gap of knowledge amongst different people, where you, sir, are the expert and understanding of a whole different world of stuff, and I am like the other guy who wants to know some shit, wants to learn some shit, right? So,
Right.
like, here's an example of the kind of thing I mean. I'm from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, right? So I notice when I listen to a lot of guys from New York and they describe stuff, they do this thing where they go, "Nah, I mean," and I never know what you guys mean. And I never know the answer. I don't know what any of it really means, right? So there's a whole lot of people like me out there that, like, could benefit from having a guy like you who actually knows a lot of things about a lot of things. Dog, I've been listening to you talk all week. Holy shit, do I think you know a lot of things about a lot of things, and I'm super excited to hear your thoughts on a bunch of stuff. So having a guy like you come through and bridge the gap in knowledge is just so beneficial to everybody, whether it's related to battle rap, whether it's related to subjects like black-owned businesses, whether it's related to just even cologne. Because, yo, I didn't know how much
Right.
I cared about cologne, dude. I was actually researching you, straight up, looking into your shit, and I landed on your Instagram, and I watched my first Fragrance Fridays. Do you know I watched 15 of those in a row, dude? Do you know that
That's
I
that.
got hooked? I got hooked. I was listening to you like you were talking because, yo, you sounded like you're a whiskey taster. Right?
Right.
Like I went to
Right.
a virtual whiskey tasting recently where some expert motherfucker comes through and starts talking about these whiskeys, and it smells with this aroma. And dude, the way you talked about it was with that level of finesse, that level of fucking joy and interesting. And I was just blown away, dude. Blown away by the level of knowledge you had. But more importantly, and this is what I wanted to compliment you on right before we really get into you and the story and all that good stuff.
Right.
But you took the opportunity in those videos not just to market a product, not just to build up a brand, but to make sure you educated people. You know, that one you did on the Juneteenth with the explanation and the history of it, where you ended on the fireworks and shit, just seeing
Right.
that opportunity to combine something you know people are going to care about with actual knowledge, dog,
Right.
that to me made you a fucking hero in my eyes. And I just wanted to start it off giving
Appreciate
you the
that.
flowers and the salutes.
Thank
On
you. I
that note,
appreciate that.
we are here to learn about your story, though. And, along the way, maybe some questions pop up and stuff. But what we trying to do is we look at it like this. When I look for you, I look for the Wikipedia page, and I'm like, there's unfortunately not a lot happening there, and it's no disrespect, but that's why we're here.
Right.
Because this is a sourceable piece of media where we can fill out your story and we can actually go through it together and learn about who you are. So since
Okay.
you do the musics, I feel like it's very important to start the musical journey off correctly. The musical
Right.
journey is not what are your influences. That's not actually where it starts. That's actually a question that comes a little bit into your story. It starts a little bit earlier than that. So basically what happened was, my questions are long, they come with stories. But what happened was, is I was watching my girlfriend do the dishes and shit, and she was bumping this Black Eyed Peas track, that I got a feeling, that shit there. And yo, when I was 21, that shit was the most fire shit in the clubs. Everybody's up there loving it. But now it's some chores music. And then I started thinking about it, asking people this question, and we got this vibe going, and we realized there's chore music that you're going to listen to. There's going to be car music and all this. But inevitably, all this club music, all this young people stuff turns into the stuff that your parents are listening to while they're doing things around you. So you as
Right.
a young lad, your actual inception to music isn't going to be when you chose stuff. It's going to be the stuff that was around you when you were young, while people were doing chores, while you was taking car rides or doing the thises or that, or maybe there was boom boxes and parties and stuff going on. So I want us to start your story proper with the music you were forced to listen to, not the music that you chose to listen to. Not to say forced in a bad way, but it really
Right.
was the start of your journey.
Well, for me, I came up around the time hip hop first started. So, like my mother's from Inglewood, New Jersey. So if give you a bit of hip hop history, that's where the
Love it.
Sugar Hill Gang is from. So my mother actually grew up with the first people that had the very first commercial hip hop record. So for me, um, like you said, you have this music that your parents listen to around the house when there's chores and they're doing stuff and they're relaxing, which quite naturally in that time was like the Anita Bakers, the Patti LaBelle's, the New Editions. But my mother used to like when she would hear records that I would listen to, specifically this record. De La Soul used to have a record called Me, Myself, and I, and it was a sample of Parliament Funkadelics, Not Just Knee Deep. So I had that component in my household where, it wasn't, you get this thing where it's like, with the old heads, when they're listening to some and they hear the kids listening to it. So, you don't know nothing about that. That's my generation. Whereas my mother just specifically told me, well, that record that you're listening to is a Parliament and Funkadelic record. That I actually have the record. Like I grew up listening to records. You know what I mean? I'm kind of dating myself with that. But actual records, like Parliament and Funkadelic, Barry White, the James Brown, all of the beginning of hip hop, like the records that were being sampled, that's what I was listening to in my household, and I was educated. I was educated on that. Like, like hip hop when I was a child, it was very sample heavy.
So let me just ask you, let's expand on that a little bit, because I think with your dating yourself, it gives us an opportunity to discuss something like actually what music consumption was like when you were young, right? And I say this because I was talking to this young 20-year-old guy about his life, and he's like, YouTube was the thing my whole life. So it was just his whole music exposure. So just because it could be anybody listening, walk us through what it's like to actually deal with records, Like, what was it like in terms of just being in that environment?
Well, first of all, you had to be real delicate because you might break something, whether it was the needle, the belt, and I actually wound up DJing. So I understood the difference between like belt-driven turntables, direct-driven turntables, which is the Technique 1200s, which was like coveted. Everything is Serato.
What's the difference between that? Let's just assume I don't know what that means, and you.
Okay, so a belt-driven, if you lift up the turntable, is actually a belt. So just think like it's like a machine. So it's like knobs, and you put the belt around the knobs, and that's what's turning the record. But a direct drive is it's almost like a motor. So it's running, it's just running a little more efficiently because it's like a machine.
Okay.
And the Technique 1200s, or like a coveted, like that was like if like you started out with a belt driven like Gemini's or Panasonic turntables, and then you got to the Technique 1200s. That was like that was what the DJs had. That's what Premier had. That's what Scratch had. Anytime you seen like a DJ competition, they had the 1200s. Which you probably didn't have 1200 if you weren't an actual DJ.
Right.
So you had, like I said, you had to be delicate with this turntable because there were so many components to it that if you broke it, like you ruined everything. You know what I mean? Like
so in a sense, basically the 1200s are just kind of bigger machines that, or maybe not bigger, but they were able to handle shit better.
Physically, it's the same size, but it's a little heavier because it's actual machinery inside of it. And like I said, usually a 1200 is only being used by a real state-of-the-art DJ. I mean, if you had a couple dollars, you could get your hands on some 1200s, but mostly like if you went to somebody's house, they had a belt-driven turn. I mean, this was what my parents listened to. I kind of came into the era where it was like tapes and CDs, but first it was, it was 8-tracks, records, tape, CDs, and I came on the cusp of that transition from the records. So I grew up in a house where there were records. There were tons of records. So like I said, when my mother heard me listening to what was, the beginning of rap, which was very sample heavy, whether it was a James Brown sample, a Barry White sample, she would tell me, I have the actual record that's sampled from. And she'd say, go pick it out, and we put it on a turntable. And that's kind of what started my love for music, actually.
Yo, that's fresh. I just wanted to shout out Pre-Chancobia, who's in the chats, and says he grew up using 1200s. They weren't cheap. Pro DJs only, heavy as fuck. So just so you know, your words are resonating with people. And big ups, and thank you so much for sharing these knowledge nuggets with us. That's how we all learn. That's how we all grow. But what I really learned is that you actually had a machine that was literally required a level of delicacy, whereas most of us grew up in some shit with Gorilla Glass where you can throw it on the floor and it's all good.
Right. Yeah, not with them turntables. You messed them turntables up. That was ass whooping. Yeah, you was going to get beaten. So actually, my mother tells me that she used to have to put, I guess, because I just was. This music shit is in me. It's not something that I do. It's part of my DNA. Right. So she said that she used to have to cover the record player because I would climb up on top of it as a baby. You're talking like I'm 2 years old, climbing up, and because I would see her playing the music, so I would go and try to cut it on, but I didn't know what I was doing, and I was gonna break something. So she would have to cover it. I would climb. She actually has a picture of me like climbing on top of the radio. It's pretty dope. You know what I mean?
No, that is dope, man. Because, I ask a lot of people about the start of it, right? And to know that for you, because, you're a talented guy, right? I've listened to a fuck ton of your 1 minutes. I've listened to that track you have as your trailer. I've listened to a bunch of your freestyles. We've listened to your battles. You are talented at literally everything you do. And I believe in the idea that, like, 10,000 hours plus to perfection, right? So the fact is that you started so fucking young, and that's it just shows in the finesse and the excellence. But what's also, first of all, big ups to being a Robert Greene fan. Personally, I'm a huge fan of Robert Greene, and to see you shout out his books is fucking fire. We can get to that a bit later on, but I just want y'all to know that this man has a sense of mastery. And you can see it even starting as a baby desiring the music. And that is fucking incredible, dude. That is something you should brag about for how cool it is.
Well, you got to be humble a little bit.
That's fair. But still, so you're surrounded by a lot of the classics. But what's super interesting is you have access to all these vinyls and records at your home, and you're able to get at any point into the DJ. But what's even more interesting is your musical journey really starts with the stuff that created hip hop in terms of what was sampled. So you knew the source material right off the jump, and this was just part of your upbringing. So you said music was in you the whole time. When did you really get into it in some way? Was this like as a kid, you're already involved? Are you dancing? Like, are you doing all sorts of stuff?
Well, like I said, well, my dad is from New York and my mother's from New Jersey. So when you have that setup, you're like just quite naturally back and forth across the bridge, the George Washington Bridge, for those of y'all that don't know. And I was just exposed to early elements, like, the DJs, the breakdancing, the MCs. And as a kid, you're just a sponge. So everything is influential, whether it's the sports, the people in your neighborhood, the music, but the music is what I gravitated to the most. So, I just, from young, I'm talking about, because I don't want to get too, I know how these go. You got to pace yourself. So if we talking young, I'm coming home from elementary school. I do your homework so you can watch your own TV raps and Video Music Box.
Okay.
So I'm not sure if you know what Video Music Box is.
I don't, but I do know what Yo MTV Raps is. But I think for the whole world, we need to know what Video Music Box is. And for these moments, I want you to just bridge that gap and share those knowledge nuggets.
All right, so Video Music Box in New York, tri-state area, they used to have a show on cable access. It was hosted by Ralph McDaniels, and it was just basically, it was essentially like a Yo MTV Raps, but it was on cable access. So you had Ralph McDaniels. He would be he's hosting it, and he'll play a video, and then he might be in a club, whatever club was popping in New York at the time, or at a record release party for whoever, for Chubb Rock, for Nice and Smooth, for I'm talking about that far back. It was actually a Houdini record that was the intro. Rest in peace to a homie that just died from Houdini, but it was dun 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 dun. I forgot the name of the record, but that was how it used to come on. And Ralph McDaniels, since he was a New York show, it catered to New York rap, which at that time was the pinnacle of hip hop. And I just remember I was just fascinated by specifically Big Daddy Kane.
Okay.
Because it was just I just felt like you could hear how intelligent he was through his lyrics. And I was just he's saying something, he's being clever about it, he's being witty about it. And for those of y'all that don't know, Big Daddy Kane was Jay-Z's mentor. So wittiness,
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, that when Big Daddy Kane was at the height of his career, he used to bring Jay-Z out in the middle of his show and let him kick a freestyle. So So the wittiness that you hear in Big Daddy, the wittiness that you hear in Jay-Z, he got a lot of it from Kane. And I'm just fascinated by how smooth and charismatic this guy was. And it's like he's making this shit rhyme, and he's on beat. Like I'm saying, like I'm like 6, 7 years old, and I'm fascinated by this. Like I'm not even thinking about becoming a rapper at this time because it's so far fetched, and in terms of like the skill set, and I don't even know how to go about doing it at this point. You know, like I just know that I'm fascinated by how charismatic and talented this guy is. And like the girls liked him. You know, like I said, I come from that.
Big facts.
Yeah,
I
you
don't
know, like
think I don't
it
think
just
people know he did that photo shoot with Madonna and all that stuff also.
right. And so now you gotta understand, like this is the 80s. So we're still like in terms of like black and white, like you don't even see that shit, like let alone the like I mean Madonna, like for lack of a better term, like she got around, but we didn't understand that as children. You know what I'm saying? I just feel like wow, like this girl is the top of pop culture at this point, and she's doing a shoot with Big Daddy Kane. Like that's crazy. But that just goes to show you that's where rap can take you.
Yo, that's nuts, man. I'm so grateful you shared this. Basically, anything like this that you want to share, my audience is going to love. Everyone watching this is going to love. And you're going to sound dope doing it. So thank you for already doing exactly what the fuck this show is. You're perfect. You're the greatest guest. I mean, not that. I'm going to say that to everybody. So it is what it is. But in this moment, you're my favorite guest. And I really sincerely mean that. This is an amazing experience. Plus, kudos on the fucking fly kicks. I recently discovered that fly kicks are an important thing. And so that's what my girlfriend's present is going to be like her first pair of like fly ass kicks. So that's what's going down.
Yeah, that's just part. That's part of the culture. You know, that's
So was fashion like important to you when you were young? Actually, let's talk about that.
Definitely, because I mean, I'm like I said, I don't rap. Like I live this. I couldn't stop rapping if I tried. I tried to stop rapping. So it's this part of the culture is just the fashion. So it's I mean, like I said, if we're going back that far, it's the b-boy fashion. And the b-boy fashion, if you like, let's just break down like Run DMC, like with the gold chains and the fedoras and the leather jackets, like no sneakers and the laces. That's urban culture, because when you come home from jail, when you go to jail, you got to take your laces out your sneakers. So when you come home from jail, like you in such a rush to get out the door, like nobody's putting their sneakers in their laces. So one day a guy was coming home from jail and they saw that he had no sneakers in his lace, no laces in his sneakers, and they just ran with it. So the street culture, like when I was like, they'll tell you like, like I come up around street shit, and everybody will tell you like it was the rappers trying to be like the street dudes, and then eventually it all just merged into one. But yeah,
that's
the
mad
fashion,
interesting what you just said.
No, it's just that's the truth. But the fashion, the hip hop. All right, to make it plain and simple, hip hop fashion in terms of New York City comes from drug dealers, because drug dealers were the ones in the 80s that had the money that could really afford to do, like when you talk about like Dapper Dan and like people, like we wear designer shit because that's what they could afford. And so when you like, if you talk to people like there's like they got their look from the dudes in the streets, and those was the drug dealers. So me seeing that early on, like I always, that's a standard. Like we come from the inner city where we might not have the nicest house or a good credit score, so your fashion is speaking for your stature in the neighborhood.
Yo, what you just said is like a real knowledge nugget. So sometimes a guy like me, let's say a white middle class dude, even though I grew up poor and shit, it's all Montreal, so it's a very different reality, right? So sometimes
that's where the wrestler. What wrestlers is from out there?
fucking what's his name? The one that got stricken from the record. The one who killed everybody. What's
Oh, he
his
killed
name?
his family.
Chris Benoit
Chris
is from
Benoit, yeah.
Montreal. There's
Okay.
probably more. I'm not 100%, but I
Nah,
think
I think it's a lot. Like the Hart family's not from out there.
I don't think they're from there, but I think the Montreal screw job went down, and that's where a lot of people connected because that's when Bret Hart got punches Vince in the face, and that whole
Right.
situation goes down. So I know that Montreal has that moment, and I'm pretty sure that Canada in general has people like Edge is from Ontario, and a
Right.
couple of other people are. I mean, I watched it for a minute, yo. I was like fucking heavy into it for a quick minute until
Yeah,
Jeff Hardy won.
it's a lot of wrestlers from Canada.
Ooh,
A
Chris
lot.
Jericho is also from Canada. Shout out, Cool Man
Okay.
Logan. So yeah, yeah, I don't know, I like it. I like the art of wrestling, right? And there's a lot of
Right.
parallels between the art of wrestling and the art of hip hop. If you want to make those
Definitely.
connections, it's just fucking amazing. But
Definitely.
yo, what you just taught me though was something that honestly I've been so confused with the fashion thing. Cause yo, for me, I'm the kind of guy that honestly will dress the fuck down. Honestly, I'll wear the Walmart shits. I don't give a shit. I've never really cared that much for fashion. But as I'm trying to embrace the culture more and understand it more, certain things just end up puzzling because you don't relate to the life at all. You can't connect to it. So when I hear somebody like you explain to me that fashion is a way to floss wealth because there literally is no other things, but then you add in 80 years of redlining tactics and educational divisions and everything else that goes into the system, and you had that
Right.
knowledge to back it up, you're like, oh fuck, I'm just being
Yeah.
an asshole for even thinking a thing about this shit. Like,
No,
yo,
no,
imagine.
that's just like culturally, like our neighborhood. Like it's funny. Like I listen to Bill Burr. He's a comedian from out here, and he said that he's white, and he said that he had this a part of his set where he came out and he said, "Yo, y'all like my clothes? Like I'm matching my clothes with my sneakers because I've been hanging out with these black guys all week, and these guys got endless supplies of clothes and sneakers, and they all match." And he's like, and he said, and if Friday comes and I'm wearing the same shirt that I wore on Monday, these guys are gonna start counting my clothes. Like, yo, this guy's only got 5 shirts. So that's the standard that we're from. It's like, I mean, you and your household might not be the best. You might not have food in your refrigerator, but it's like if you look good, which is as we mature, we understand that that's not really what it's about, but that's what was implemented in us at a young age. So it's like, yo, you got to be fresh. You have to. You got to be the sneakers, the hats, the clothes, the haircuts. It just, I mean, down to your socks, your underwear, like for real.
I mean, I really just thank you for sharing that, man, because I really do. And I say this sincerely. You actually deepen my understanding of hip hop culture a little bit with that explanation. And I'm certain that there are other people watching who are going to feel the same way. So, man, I just appreciate it. This is incredible. We haven't even gotten out of your childhood and we fucking already shared so
Right,
much shit, dog. This is a great
right,
interview so far, to me at least. Having a great time. Thank you for making my Saturday blessed. We're not even allowed to leave our apartments and go anywhere in Montreal. Non-essentials.
right.
Everything's fucking like locked down. So thank you for making our shit litty up on our side of things.
No
Um,
doubt.
so were you into dancing at all? Were you into graffiti? What kind of stuff
Oh
like that were
yeah,
you into when you were young?
I wasn't. I was into dancing, but it like it was a point in my life where I did dance, but then as you get a little older and you start to venture out into the clubs, you want to be aware of your surroundings. So it got to the point where if I was dancing, uh, I didn't know what was going on around me.
Mm.
So I stopped dancing.
But when you were
Yeah.
young, you were into it?
When I was young, yeah, like I actually I moved to Maryland as a teenager. So
Okay,
we
so let's
listened to
let's
like
let's move back a little bit. We'll get to that, but I
right,
feel
yeah, right,
like
right. All right,
let's move back in the
but
story.
yeah, but just period. Like I mean, I don't come from like I never was like outside breakdancing and no shit like that. But
Okay.
as I got old, like I used to really like to dance. I used to be in the house practicing how to dance, and
Cause yo, cause
this
it's
is some shit where like
interesting.
if my homies see this, they're gonna fucking clown me about it because it's not cool to do it now. But when I was younger, yeah, because once again, Big Daddy Kane had backup then. Like hip hop early on, it it
Hey.
it was the rapper, it was the DJ, and there were backup dancers, and Kane used to dance with his backup dancers. So you had Scoob and Scrap. Scoob and Scrap was Kane's backup dancers. So it was kind of cool to be able to dance when I was a kid. But then when I got into teenage years and I started to go out,
Okay.
I would rather be more aware of my surroundings than just dancing.
So I got like one question before your teenage years. It's kind of the start of it. So that's why I wanted to like roll it back a bit because I don't want to like skip
Right.
ahead. But
Right.
thank you, man. This is lit. Also, you said you weren't that into graffiti when you were young, just to like,
Nah,
cause I'm curious.
I can't draw for shit. Yeah, I'm terrible at drawing.
But were you like around the graffiti peoples at all? Like, cause I realize that's a part of it in the
Yeah,
culture.
it's a part of it, but like if you're not, like, I was so fascinated with rap,
Mm,
and then like I said, like, and this is in the beginning, I was fascinated with rap. So I was worried about getting around the rap to become a better rapper. You know
okay.
what I mean? So as far as graffiti, um, I don't know if it's because I'm left-handed or what, but I'm just terrible. Like I'm like stick figures. Like I can't draw for shit. So
Fair enough.
if I would have been interested in it, I'm pretty sure I could have found my way into that circle. But I wasn't interested in it.
I appreciate that. So let's move into like the next main question. And I don't know when it is, but we've found on this channel so far that usually it's around puberty. But this is when it stops being like what your parents are listening to and what's around you to I like this. This is like my identity through music. And usually it's around puberty. So I'm wondering if you remember the moment slash the song that got you to go, this is it. This is my shit. And less of your parents and when that took place and a little bit about that moment.
Well, for me, because music is generational, like you said. So for me, since hip hop was so new, hip hop was ours to begin with because we were the youth
Okay.
of that time. Um, I come from like it's not like, and I can't even just say hip hop. Like we just got to talk about, because I said Yo MTV Raps, but let's just say MTV. MTV was new for us, for everybody, for the world. But we were the kids, so this is kind of what it was geared to. So before even rap, so put it like this: there was a period in my life I didn't even listen to rap. I listened to nothing but heavy metal. I listened to nothing but Metallica, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, because without Yo MTV Raps, hip hop wasn't programmed into television. Hip hop was just supposed to be a fad. Like I come from the era where hip hop is, oh, that's cool. It's not going to be much. And it's a $1 billion industry now, multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yo, but that's huge, man. Like, do you know what you just said to us? Because, yo, a lot of people sometimes get into these boxes where they don't really like to look outside their lane. But, yo, listen, I hear what you're doing today. You excellent at your craft. But I've noticed a lot of
Right.
these cats that are along the way from, not to age you or anything, but from your era, they're all excellent at their craft. And one of the key things they have in common is this kind of exposure to shit like MTV controlling the distribution of music and hip hop
Well,
being new.
I
But
think
it also,
whether people want to admit it or not, like if you wanted to watch a rap video, you had to wait for it to come on. So you're gonna see some Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're gonna see Metallica. You're gonna see L7, Sonic Youth. These bands that, I mean, it's good music. It was good
but
music.
that's what I
So
love about it because that's where I think a lot of people don't necessarily understand it in the modern way of looking at things is that there's a difference between like maybe sticking to your thing and just acknowledging that there's good music all over. And the fact that your mind got so open so young,
right,
I think leads to you being a more open-minded person today. Like there is a world outside of your purview, right? Like I had an experience where, for lack of
yeah,
a better term, I went to a black high school, so I got exposed to things that typically a guy like me wouldn't. Like, I'm listening to Beanie Man in 2003. Like this isn't like stuff that I think a lot of
right,
people my age would have done actually where I come from. But like it ended up just being like that. So I can appreciate the power that it has in an impact on your life later on to have that kind of musical exposure. And I find it like a common theme of people I end up talking to is that they are open-minded to music beyond it. So thank you again for sharing that, because, you know, you look at your world, it's so hip-hop. So to hear you be like Metallica or Red Hot Chili Peppers, man, it's just fucking dope, dude.
That's the funny thing. Like that, like my friends, they say like, it's crazy that I'm the one that became the rapper, because there was like a period in my life I didn't listen to rap at all. Like I said, it was just like Wu-Tang. No, I'll scale it back. Like you had the Megadeth, the Metallica, the Molly. Like you had to watch MTV all day to see a rap video. So by the time you see a rap video, you've seen 20 heavy metal songs, and then there's Headbangers Ball, which it just come from a different walk of life. But they're the outcasts, they're the rebels in their world. So at the end of the day, I was into it. But by the time like Biggie, Nas, and Wu-Tang came around, like how could I not listen to that? You know what I mean? I was like,
so you were in high school at that point?
No, I was still in middle school. I was still young. You know what I mean? I was very young. So I'm talking about like gangsta. It's the crazy part is like I went to this, my mother sent me to a Catholic school where I was the only black kid in there. And I'm the only black kid in there, but the group of people that I hung out with, they were all Filipino because they were the other minorities. And they all listened to rap. So I started listening to rap again because I got around them. And this was like Gangstar, like I said, Wu-Tang, Nas, and it like I just got back into rap that way, and then it was just like I was fascinated with the art form from the beginning. You know, It wasn't just like a fad to me. It wasn't a fad. It was just everything about it. Like I said, when I talk about Kane, like down to from his haircut to his jewelry to his fashion. Before he even opens his mouth, he's an icon to me.
Yo, hold up. Can we just pause there? Because you just shared another knowledge nugget for people. So I fucked up a lot in my life. I'm watching some of my old footage from back in the day, and I'm wearing suits and shit that don't fit. And now I'm really thinking, like, what did that do to me? Maybe that was the reason that a lot of people didn't want to fuck with me. Because while I didn't care about that, and I know that there are people out there who don't care about this, right? It's just, I know a lot of y'all, it's inherent, it's part of your culture. But a guy like me, look, man, I sometimes have to remember, oh, fuck, yeah, I got to shave. You know, like, I don't even know. I don't even remember if I shaved before I actually did this. I'm not even going to lie. And I know it's terrible. This is just me being honest with you because I appreciate what you're sharing, because it's a lesson for me to know, yo, presentation matters, right? And the better that you make yourself look, that first impression, before you even spit a bar, it's like an album cover. Before you even hear the record, the album cover. So if you don't try on that cover, nobody's even going to click on it. So the fact that you're sharing this with us, man, is bigger than just your stories. Is real knowledge nuggets that you are passing on to the world, and I appreciate you for that.
No doubt.
Anyhow, sorry to cut you off. I just wanted to make sure everybody understood what you just said to all of us. But when did you actually start going, yo, I'm gonna do this shit, I'm gonna be a rapper, I'm gonna make this happen? How old were you when that moment happened in your life? And do you remember that moment?
I remember the first time I wrote a rap. I must have been like 12. I was probably like 12. And it was so bad. It was
Do you remember
terrible.
it though?
Yeah, I remember it. I don't even want to say it, but it was bad.
Okay.
It was that bad. I said, and there was a little bit of wordplay in it, but I was young and I let my sister hear it, and she just bust out laughing like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, that doesn't even exist in your life."
Hold on,
like,
I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you right there for a second, Bones. Real quick, I'm gonna stop you right there because that's not a good gauge. You know, where we come from, our families and our sisters, our siblings, it's like they're trained to shit all over our lives whenever we're doing something. So it's not a good gauge. You know what I mean?
No, that's a fact. But it was just like I remember the rhyme. Like I said, My dick is in your ear, so I know you hear me coming. When I pull out my Glock, you better start running. Cause I'm controversial like that whole Madonna. I'll make your empire fall like Tony Montana. And she was just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Can I cut you off there? Your sister was ragging on you, but you just wrote better bars than some 40-year-old men I know at your like youth, okay? Right. So I just want you to know that in your soul that you, because let's all add it. Yo, my girlfriend just said she loved it, dude. Okay, that's what just happened in the chat right now. Let me tell you, yo, people like it, dog. Your sister ragged on you, but we're all like, yo, that's 13-year-old, 12-year-old you. Nobody's judging it like a grown man. Yeah. We all going, holy shit, he's dropping bars at 12. This makes total sense that he became Bones Brigante that crushes battle rap and all this other shit. So I want you to know for the rest of your life that was actually fire, and you should share that shit with people because it's gonna make you look good.
Yeah, you should definitely not feel ashamed. Like, bro, my first rhymes is some real like Sugar Hill Gang type of a tribute to the players. Near a fog, like that's my beginning rhyme. Horrible, you know what I mean?
In high school, I was writing the most emo, ridiculous, like embarrassing, like a river turns red from a blow to the head. Like I was writing that shit at one point in my life, okay? So just remember that you don't have that going on. You have some shit that holds up today, and I get to sound like a My Chemical Romance song and my teenage shit. You know what I'm saying? You sound great, dog.
Well, yeah, but that was the first time I wrote, and well, basically, I grew up playing basketball. So at some point, like, there was a shift where I understood in basketball that you don't have to be born good at basketball. Like, you could practice and become good because, like, I was good, and I grew up playing with people that were great. Like, I grew up playing with a few cats that made it to the NBA, specifically because I told you I moved to Maryland. So like Carmelo, I played with Keith Bogans one time. And
hold on, did you just casually name drop that you played basketball with famous people? That's cool. I mean, it's cool.
Listen, it is what it is. But I mean, I'm not in the NBA, you know what I'm saying? So clearly there was a disparity in the skill sets. But I just understood that, like,
yo, shout out DJ Blaster in the chat.
Like, I would get discouraged because I wasn't as good as some of the people that I was playing with, and then it would be like I would play all summer long, and then come back, and I would be better. So I just kind of understood the practice makes perfect thing. And then
mastery. That's
when I kind of realized that I could put that into rap and I could become better. And that's just what I did. Like for years, like at different points in my life, different ways and at different time periods and different locations. Yeah, like it's just anything you do, like it. I mean, you could really be like terrible at something, like bad. And if you keep doing it, like you're gonna make strides in it. I can't guarantee you like fame and fortune will come out of it, but you could be bad, like bad. But if you do something every day for at least a half hour to 2 hours, you're gonna get better at it.
Yo, I hear Robert Greene. I hear it happening as you're spitting that shit, dog. I hear it right now.
Yeah, well, I actually, like I said, I understood that specifically because I don't want to jump too far ahead.
Nah, but I'm saying that's how powerful what you're saying is. Look, Robert Greene is my favorite author. That guy to me has his finger on the pulse. I've read 5 of his books cover to cover. Okay, I haven't read Mastery. I read them all but Mastery, but after a while,
that's actually the only one that I read all the way through.
For me, it was 48 Laws of Power because I saw on the internet that rappers read it after going to jail and shit. Right. So I'm like a geeky white kid, and I'm like, fuck it, I got to read that book. It looks interesting. But it was the first book of a reading quest that I'm now 90 books deep into. So it was fucking a great book for me, and I actually really believe what you're saying because everything about my life is that. I'm not good at anything. I'm just a guy who knows how to get better at things. And that's really what I think you're saying.
That's all that matters. That's just the journey through life. Like nobody, because I used to think that, because like I said, I started out with basketball. So I used to think you had to be born good, because there are people that are born good. You know what I mean? But then, like I said, through trial and error, through me just like, specifically the summers, because that's what they say. Those are when great basketball players are made. So I'm going away for the summer to a basketball camp, or I'm playing on this summer league team, and I'm practicing all summer, and I'm getting better. And I'm like, oh, so you don't have to be born good. You could get better at this. And it's like, I hit, 16, 17, and it's like, okay, you're not going to Duke or North Carolina like you wanted to, but you can become a better rapper from now. And that's just what I did.
So, yo, can I just tell you a story of my own? Because I really love what you're sharing here. So I had a similar moment, but only I was about 12 or 13. I'm 5'7", dude. But I was like 12, white guy at a black high school, and I wanted to play basketball. I had no idea what I was signing up for. I show up to the tryouts, and according to the guy...
You never played at all?
Nah. I just wanted to do it because I'm 12.
Yeah, that's bad.
And I just went to a school. I actually wore my shorts inside out on the first day of tryouts. That's how fucking awkward I was as a teenager. It is what it is. Now, I went to Wager, so anybody in Montreal knows what the fuck I just said, and it adds an extra element for those people. But this was like the best basketball team at the time in Montreal's high school league, okay? I show up.
Right.
I get cut. I don't even stand. I'm gone. I'm the first guy off the fucking list. But you know what happened? I said I'm never gonna play basketball right. It's not for me. It doesn't matter. So it's not the same as your story there, but I ended up pivoting to lyrics and things and starting a journey that would lead to this very moment here. So what I love about what you shared with us is at the same time you went through this experience, you got better, you learned about improvement, but you also hit this moment where you recognized maybe this thing that I love isn't the one for me, but there's this other thing that I love that I could pursue that is the one for me. And that thing is a powerful fucking lesson that you shared. That is a powerful knowledge nugget. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, it just, I mean, that's just life. You learn through trial and error, and it just gave me the discipline, because like I've never walked in to like an elite basketball environment and been one of the best. Like it was like, okay, he's okay. But like the tutelage that I got from basketball, I've been able to walk into rap environments and it'd be like, yo, that guy is a fucking problem. And it comes from, just understanding with basketball that practice makes perfect.
I respect that. So it's about the end of high school then that you can say that you pivot from basketball to hip-hop?
Literally, you nailed it on the head. Literally, I got kicked out of high school, my senior year of high school, and I was I did virtual learning before that shit was even a thing. I did.
Okay, well, hold up. Can you talk about that? That's a fucking great clickbaity moment that we could discuss. That's actually super interesting to me. I want to hear about young you virtual learning.
It wasn't virtual. My mother had to go to the school and get my, essentially what happened was I got kicked out of school. I got in too much trouble. I got in a bunch of fights and I was just like a mischievous little guy. And essentially my grandfather had a friend that knew somebody at the Board of Ed. So they basically said, okay, you can either come back next year or you could finish school from home. And I'm like, all right, I'm telling my mother, like, I'm going to come back next year. I'm just going to play basketball. I'm going to be a year older, so I'll have an advantage. And my mother was like, you're not sitting around here for a year not doing shit. Like, you're going to finish school from home. So she used to have to go to the school and get all my work. She would go to the school once a week to get my work. And they would tell her that the teachers didn't have anything. They didn't have anything. And at the end of the year, they gave me all of my schoolwork and I had to finish it. So it sucked. Yeah,
hold up. You know what you just shared with us? That's some bullshit that you share. First of all, shout out your moms. That's some real shit. And why I love that you shared that, because a lot of, getting back to that, I'm super white from Montreal shit. I don't necessarily appreciate what a black mother actually has to go through in this kind of an environment. So that's another layer of extra that you added and shared with the world. But secondarily, how fucked up is that? Let's talk about that for a second. That sounds like some systemically fucked up. I'm not trying to go there with like language. It's just, yo, it's fucking fucked up.
Essentially, it is, but it taught me early on that life isn't fair, and like I could have used that as an excuse. I did all the work, but because everything happens for a reason. Because in this time, I'm home every night. I have absolutely nothing to do, and I'm writing rhymes every night.
But this is
when I decide I'm gonna be a rapper.
And I appreciate that. I just wasn't expecting you to say that the school system fucked you over in an inexcusable way. Sorry, that kind of shit. Like it's like when you hear it, you're like, wow.
It happens though.
That's some real shit.
It was a blessing in disguise, because I mean I would have been a rapper regardless, but that was what gave me my start. Like everything happens for a reason. When I look back at my life and how everything fits like a puzzle piece. Like it's never like, well, why did that happen to me? I get it. Like it happened. It all happened for a reason.
Man, I love the way that you're flipping it and that your perspective on it, and the way that you're taking a moment in your mind and turning it around is actually something that we should all aim and strive to do, because it is how you make the most of the moments. I still was a little shocked to hear that happened, because I could tell you if that shit went down here, it would be like a scandal. I don't know if the scandal would result in anything, but it would certainly be a scandal.
But because here's the point where I gotta take responsibility, because if I would have been doing what I was supposed to do in school, I would have never been in that position.
But here's the thing. They still offered you this arrangement, and then they reneged on their offer to fuck you. That's what happened, in my opinion.
They offered it. But had I not done what I did, I would have never been in that position.
Dog. I feel like it's ridiculous to put that kind of shit on youth. Like it's a lot to put on.
I take it all in stride. It all worked out.
So I'm not debating that. It may have been the best thing for you. I dropped out of university. It was the best thing for me. I'm not saying that. I'm still saying that, like at a bigger conversation level, these are the kinds of things that maybe people don't know happen, that tell people to go in different life trajectories that don't make sense to them. Because there's a lot of people that don't realize that. Like, listen, when I was in high school, they actually took a lot of guys who were not going to graduate and told them to drop out and start adult ed. Just don't do it. Just drop out now, halfway through the year. And so, like, when you look at my grad pic, there's not a lot of males left in this picture. It's a lot of females, and there's like 11 dudes or some shit. And that's fucking weird when you really think about it.
I'd have loved that. That minute, all the hoes was at the school. They cut out the competition for you. All the girls was at the school.
I was not very good at that life back in the day. I had to learn that later in life. It is what it is.
Oh, okay.
But it was still like when you think about this kind of shit, and then you think about this kind of, because I went to a lower income school at the end of the day. So like, to me, there's kind of like looking at it, why were they pushing that like that? There was not even an effort made to like redeem them. It was like, you kind of suck, get the fuck out. That was the impression that it came off to me, at least as a youth. Anyhow. Not to like really dwell there. I just think it's really good to talk about this kind of stuff, as well as all the funner stuff, such as your music, which we can pivot back to because it's a good thing. Basically, so you start rapping then outside of high school. Tell us about the beginning about that. Tell us how it all fucking works for you now that you're in this moment where you decided this is your craft. What comes next for you? Also, are you like recording shit or performing before here in high school? Like, are you fucking around with that kind of stuff?
No. Because at this point, like, I don't even know where the fuck to go. I just know, like, if I write every night, I'm going to get better.
Okay.
So that whole year, I'm in the house. I had a friend of mine that, like, Carmelo used to look up to this dude. He was a basketball player from my neighborhood. And, like, I even saw Carmelo last summer, and he asked me about my friend Davon. So basically, Davon, one night we was in our neighborhood. It was the summertime, so everybody was outside, and he popped the E-pill, and he just was freestyling the whole fucking night. He was freestyling the whole night, and he was a funny dude, so he was just dissing everybody, but he was rapping, like I said, like, so now this is the same thing that I saw Kane, that I was fascinated by, and I'm seeing a friend of mine do the exact same thing, but everything is off the head with him.
Right.
So, like everybody, like you're getting, because it's one thing to joke, but like everybody can't rap. So how do you combat somebody that's joking you and rapping? And you know, he has status because he's a basketball player. So basically, I had a rap. So I had all my raps. I had a ton of raps, in all honesty, but I didn't have them memorized. But I had one rap that I knew. So this is like early 2000s. So this is like Snoop crip walking shit. And I said, everybody was like, yo, you gotta know how to rap, yo, like you from up top, so you gotta know how to rap. So I'm like little do these guys know, like I've been writing for months and months, and I got some raps. So I said, I don't even remember, like it's crazy now that I think about it, because this is like when we write battle raps, it's like you write like set up, punchline. I don't even remember the whole fucking rhyme, but I just remember like Snoop was crip walking like crazy at the time. That's like when the crip walk craze was going around. And I just said, if it's beef, we skip talk. I'll bust shots at your feet and make you do the crip walk. And everybody in the neighborhood went crazy. And it was the first time I got a reaction off of my raps. Like I'm talking about, like I specifically remember the girl he was messing with. The look on her face was like, yo. And I'm like, I got so fucking spooked, I couldn't even remember the rest of my rhymes. And this kid could freestyle. So then I started trying to freestyle with him, and it wasn't working. But ironically, he was my friend. It wasn't like we didn't like each other. He was my friend. So from there, we got up every day, and me and him used to write rhymes together every day. And then you know, just like anything in life, you know, sometimes, you know, people, they just grow apart. But I just said, from that moment on, when I got that reaction, I just set out on my journey. And that's when I started finding places to record and open mics to perform at, and just sharpening my sword.
Let's actually stop there. Tell us, like, expand on each of these things. What's it like to be looking for shit to record? How do you go about that? Like, I can tell you what it's like in Montreal in 2012, but what's it like to be like that guy? And how did you get started? Like, how did you actually find these things?
All right, well, the first thing, I had a friend of mine that he had went to jail when we was kids, like a juvenile detention center. So when he came home, they put him like in this placement where it was like a program for him where he had his own apartment, and they helped him find jobs or put him in school, whatever it was that he wanted to do to kind of set him up for success in life. And a lady, so he went to jail when I was like 17. So by the time he comes home, like this is the time period where I got kicked out of school and I'm rapping. So he comes home and I'm like, yo, I know how to rap now. And he's like, all right, well, let me hear you rap. You know, it's my boy. We hanging out every day. He live around the corner from me, all of that. So it was a lady in his program that knew somebody that had a studio. So she was just basically he was telling her like, yo, my boy could rap. And she came to hear me rap, and she called the guy who had the studio. And he's like, well, I'm working on this and I'm working on that, so I can't really take on any new artists right now. And she just kept like being persistent, like, no, like this kid is talented. Like he's kind of, he's got it. You know what I mean? So one day when she called him, he was like, well, I'm not far from where y'all are at. I'm about to have a meeting, so bring him over here. So she took me to the meeting that he was having with these guys, and he's like, yeah, I just keep hearing stuff about you. So this is not like now where it's like a kid knows how like to record and there's Pro Tools and a laptop, and it's like, yo, let me hear you rap right now. Like fuck all that. Let me hear your song. What's your SoundCloud? How many followers you got? Let me hear you rap right now. You know what I mean? And I rapped. and he was impressed. So it was funny. Like he was like, yo, he told the dudes he was having a meeting with, like, he was like, yo, we got to wrap this up, yo. So he took me straight to the studio. He took me straight to the studio, and the studio that he had, it was like the setup was like in the house, but it was like almost like some reality show shit where like it was just mad rappers that lived in this fucking house, and that kind of like that was where I used to sharpen my sword, because at the time I was
I like how you said that. Sharpen your sword.
Yeah.
Oof. My channel icon is a sword.
Yeah, because now I had people to be around. Like I was just in my room rapping, like, you know, hoping that my shit sounded good. But now I had people to test my shit with. So there's like 9 rappers in this house. This is Baltimore, Maryland. This is the east side of Baltimore, down the hill, like the gutter. Like this is like the Wire type of shit. You know what I'm saying? So like I got people that I could, like, every time I go down there, I know I gotta have some bars, because these motherfuckers, they're gonna have bars. And there's like, Baltimore is not really like where the spitters are from. Like Baltimore is like the northernmost southern city, but it's like still like they listen to like Gucci Mane and 3 6 Mafia, and I wasn't listening to that shit. Like I was listening to like I was a kid that had all the Clue tapes, but these kids could really rap, so I had to make sure that my shit was on point. Specifically, a kid named Wink down there, who at the time was a lot younger than me, but he was fucking dead nice. So I was like, man, like this kid, we used to have to sneak him in the club because he wasn't even old enough to get inside the club. He had fucking school in the morning. But I just wanted to be nice. I always wanted to be dead nice. Like I just wanted to be nice, yo. Like that shit is a status symbol where I'm from, like for real.
I like that. You know what I like about what you shared is because I'm trying to find common patterns. One of the things that actually Robert Greene does, I'm going to go back to him because you put him on my mind, and I actually have a Robert Greene book right there that you can't see. But he actually compares historical figures and looks for the common things that expand upon a core and central theme. So when I'm looking for greatness, and I consider you greatness, I don't know what numbers say, whatever. That's not important. You are greatness that I'm talking to right now.
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
I love it, dude, man. I'm really impressed with you. It is, man. I learned from you. You know what I learned from you? Let me tell you what I learned from you, just so you know I'm not full of shit. A compliment should be specific and accurate so you know it's real. I looked at your Instagram, and I'm a UX guy, user experience, so I actually care about certain things. Now, I found that you lined up your whole Fragrance Fridays things on the left-hand side for me. And I didn't really notice it at first, but I found it so convenient to go down like that. And then I looked at my Instagram, and it's a fucking mess. It looks like I don't care. And your shit looks like you do care. So when I say I'm talking to brilliance, I'm saying I already learned shit I can take away from you before I talk to you that I can apply to it. But what you taught us all here is the power of competition in like a positive kind of way. It's not necessarily.
You gotta have it. Because it's so easy. It's so easy for you to get threatened by that level of competition. Like, think about how you said when you went to the basketball tryout. Like if you
didn't go good for me.
Yeah, right. But it's so easy to be threatened by that level of competition and say, fuck this. I don't want to do it no more. But because you didn't even realize how much time you had. Like how old were you when you went to that?
12.
You were fucking 12. So if you put in 5 years at that point, which you can't gauge it at that time because 5 years at 12 sounds like a long time, but it's not long at all. So by the time you're fucking 17, even if you're not elite, if you're not an elite basketball player, you're still a good player. But
do y'all see what he did there? He fucking paid attention and flipped my own story on me to make his point happen. This guy does not lose arguments to women, and that's what I just learned about Bones Brigante. That's the trick to winning an argument with a woman. That's what I know right now.
There's some truth to that.
That's all I'm saying. I want you to know that's amazing, dude. Thank you for again sharing like that. So let's go back to your story a bit. So you basically camping around, you learning, you sharpening your sword and shit. What is the elevation point, or what's interesting going on there? So it's cool that you shared that too, right? Because honestly, it's not that different than today. You still have to find a friend that hooks you up and teaches you some shit, and that's just the facts of the game. Networking is fucking key.
Right.
So yo, definitely tell us what comes next then in the story.
All right, so I'm in Baltimore. I'm like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. I barely graduated high school. I'm in community college. I want to be a rapper at this point. And when I say in community college, I'm enrolled. I'm not taking these classes seriously at all. Like I'm not taking anything seriously at this time. I guess the closest you could say that I was taking things serious was probably rap, but I even knowing what I know now, I wasn't taking that as serious as I needed to take it.
That's fair though. We're all young.
I meet my daughter's mother and I get her pregnant. So now once again, this is where I say everything falls into place, because my daughter's mother, she goes to Morgan State, which is in Baltimore, but she's from Philadelphia. So when we have our daughter, she decides she wants to go back to Philadelphia because she'll get more help there because her family is there. So now I go from being a young man with very little responsibilities, not a care in the world, in Baltimore, Maryland, to a young parent in Philadelphia. So not only just to keep things in context of, because I can't take away from the fact that how drastically my life changed in terms of responsibilities. And, you know, now I have somebody that I have to set an example for. I go from a big fish in a small pond to a small fish in a big pond, because like I said, Baltimore is not really known for spitters. I get to Philly and there's Reed Dollars, there's Cicero, there's Kaboom, there's NH, Vodka, Eddie Morris, Rain Man. These are just the guys on the DVDs.
These are some big names. These are some big names getting dropped right now.
You know like if you don't really understand, you gotta like Dutch.
I don't understand.
All
just
right,
assume.
yeah. All right.
I'm gonna have to Google after.
Understand this. Okay. There's no YouTube. The way that content is beginning to get circulated is through DVDs. There's not a lot of DVDs. There's Smack DVDs. So okay, let's talk terms of battle rap. You got Smack DVDs and you have Philly as a whole city, okay? And their whole movement is being captured on DVDs, okay? Now, Smack is only coming out once every 3-4 months, one battle on there. You talk about Philly and the rappers that was there, like when you talk about the level of competition, it was insane. I was terrified. When I got to Philadelphia and I heard the level of rap that was being displayed there, I almost did not want to rap no more. Straight up. Damn. I did not like I want y'all, anybody that's watching this, that if you don't already know, because shit ages so rapidly now. This is about 3-4 generations ago. If you go look at like Cicero, so anybody, like y'all know who Cassidy is.
Yes. Cassidy's a name I at least know. So I'm going to assume that if I know it, people do.
But all of these dudes, like you got to understand, like Philly is like a blue collar city. So Cassidy gets a record deal, but all of these dudes feel like they deserve the same look that Cassidy does, because yeah, Cassidy is Cassidy, but it's like yo, Philly is the home of the spitters, like for real. Like I can't
Right.
stress that to you enough. Like I said, so if we
Wasn't
take it
Black Dot
from,
from Philly?
huh?
Isn't Black Dot from Philly? I might be wrong about that.
This is what I'm saying. Oh, all right. So think about that. But I'm talking about in terms of my peers. These guys are my Black Thought is my old
Right.
head, and we'll get
No,
to
but
that
even
later
just
because
the fact is, like, of all generations, you can point to guys from Phillies as being spitters. Like, some of the best spitters
that's what I'm
ever
saying.
come from
Like
Philly.
these guys that I just, all right, you know Black Thought. Everybody knows Black Thought, but the guys that I just named, you never even heard of these guys. But these guys
None of
were
these guys,
fucking.
no.
These guys were stars. They were stars.
Superstars in the underground.
Superstars of the DVD era, bro.
The streets,
like
yeah, the DVD.
The streets, like these guys are when I tell you like super duper elite, because what's going on is it's not just the bars, it's the delivery, it's the hunger. It's like you're battling in Philly and somebody's in your fucking face, like it's different. It's just different. So when I'm in Baltimore, I can go anywhere in Baltimore and be the best rapper bar for bar. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Shout out to my man Los, because I can't discredit Los, because if Los, because rap is so competitive, but if Los sees, he knows what I'm saying when I say this, because Los is a spitter from Baltimore, but Baltimore doesn't have an abundance of spitters.
Right.
Philly,
Baltimore is known for their dancing more than their rapping.
Exactly. This is why I was getting into how I was in Baltimore. I used to be in the clubs dancing. You know what I mean? But
I had no idea. Hold up, that's so fucking nifty. Like just the idea that like dance is more important than other shit in Baltimore. Like, yo, that's a thing that I never once even. You guys just set off a light in my brain. So thank you for that.
Yeah, because Baltimore is known for club music. So we're in the club dancing. Girls are fucking backing it up on us. That type of shit. You didn't go like in New York at this time. People are going to the tunnel to hear people rap. In Baltimore, we're going to the club to hear Baltimore club music and watch girls shake their ass. Like girls are getting naked on stage to the music. Like, you know,
I mean, like when you put it down, it does sound like you had the better end of the stick though.
It was lit, but it just was different. So now when I get to Philly, I'm thrusted back into like gladiator school. Like I'm talking, and I'm just telling you the guys that I know that you can go look these dudes up. Philly is like Philly is like I said, it's still that let me hear something era. So me, I'm a fashionable dude. Like I said, I come from street culture. So people are looking at me like, you look like a rapper. Let me hear something. And Dutch, he'll know, like, you know, like we come from the era where like it's not no 3 rounds of battling. It's we're gonna rap until you run out of bars, bro. And motherfuckers in Philly, they had bars, yo. So I gotta balance being a young man who's a parent and has responsibility. I'm not just living off the land at this point where I could just sleep all day and wake up and rap when I want to. I gotta go to work because I have a child. But at the same time, I wanna be a fucking rapper. And I wanna be elite at this shit. And because I know what it feels like to be elite from being in Maryland, but how the fuck do I become elite here? Like, because not only is this a responsibility of me as a parent or my pen game, like Philly's a violent place. So I gotta make sure I'm safe on top of that. So how am I gonna do this? That's the next that's what it was next for me, was getting to Philly in the early 2000s and because yo, the shit was just crazy, yo. The level of competition, it was insane.
I just thank you again for sharing it, right? Because this is the kind of like stuff where maybe some of us don't realize what other people have gone through, right? So some of us younger dudes, especially, we hear this kind of like we come from a time where it was a lot easier to get into the game. I'm gonna be real. In 2012, like what? If you have enough money, you're in. You can't really be kept out of it, right?
No, you gotta be stamped. I come from the era where they gotta open the door for you. I'm from the last generation of you got to open the door. It's not, no, I'm going to set up a camera and let you hear me rap. And
Right.
no, they got to open the door for you.
Yo, man, it's really great that you're sharing this, dude. It's really like, this is important history that we're capturing. So basically you're at a point now where you're rapping, you're getting your pen game on. When does it like actually get to a level where, I don't know what happens? Do you start battling first? Is that the first thing for you that like kicks up into the next level of your life, or is there something else that happens first?
I'm in Philly.
So I guess it's battling.
First, like I said, I got responsibilities. I'm still doubling back because at this time I got my peoples in Baltimore. I'm doubling back and recording with them. I start meeting people in Philly, but I don't really know these guys and I don't really want to fuck with them because like I mean, it like the best way I could put it is like, not to say that anybody in Philly was like this, but I just understood from a young age that like you got to watch who you hang out with. So like, look at the Tekashi 6ix9ine situation. Like, this dude hung out with dudes for fucking 11 months and got all of these dudes arrested. You know what I mean? So I got a child and I got to be responsible about who I'm around and what I'm doing. So I don't want to be around people I don't know. So I'm doubling back to Baltimore doing my recording. And it even got to a point where I just was like, man, fuck this. I don't even want to do this shit no more. Right. But once again, this is Philadelphia. So you just walking around is like, it's literally like, dude, you look like a rapper. Do you rap? And now I'm young, full of testosterone and ego. Yeah, I rap. Let me hear something. Like, this is the normal for Philadelphia. Like just regular walking around. Like not like I'm on my way to go see a girl. Yo. And you better hope that that's all somebody's asking you for. And they're not about to rob you, in all honesty. You know what I mean? But yo, you want to hear me rap? All right. And then, like I said, it's not, no, we're going to stand here and rap until you don't have any more raps. It's like, yo, come on, I got one more. You know what I mean? Don't go nowhere. But I guess the shift, you know, I realized I wasn't getting no younger. So, oh, wow. All right. So I'm in Philadelphia and I'm working jobs. I'm going to school. I'm trying to figure life out. So I used to work at Temple University Hospital. And the way it was, because we was all in the union, if you had a problem with somebody, you could fight them in the locker room. Like, fight. This how tough of this. Listen, this is, I'm at work, mind you. This is how tough of a city Philadelphia is. If you got a problem with somebody, y'all fight in the locker room.
That's a real thing.
This is the God honest truth. As long as nobody tells what happened, then you still got your job, because we're in the union. You can't tell on a fellow union member, because you're going to be in like, the whole part of the union is for people to stick together to keep their jobs.
Right.
So me being from out of town, I got in a few fights in there, and I'm just like, I was getting tired of that shit. And I'm like, you know what? Yo, this is funny, yo. So one day we're all sitting around and I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of this shit. You know what I mean? I don't want to go to school no more. I don't want to work here no more. I don't want to have to fight y'all niggas no more. I'm going back to rapping. And people are like, rap? Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, oh, you can rap? You a rapper now? And I'm like, yeah, I could rap. You know what I'm saying? And everybody's like, whatever. I said, all right, watch this. So they had a talent show at my job. And like I said, that's what it was if you had a problem with somebody, you could just fight them. So I just said one day, like, everybody I got a problem with, I'm going to write a rap about them. And at the time, I was about to audition for 106 in Park. And I just told myself, if I could go up here and do this, then 106 in Park would be easy. So I wrote a rap about everybody at my job that I didn't like. I didn't care if you was a supervisor, a manager, anything. And I wrote a rap and I got up there and I said that shit. And everybody was like, what the fuck was that? Like, and it was just like, then this other guy at the job, he said he could rap better than me. And there was this kid at the job that had a studio. And he said, okay, y'all battle each other, and whoever wins gets an hour of free studio time. And then I beat him. I scraped him. I actually, some of the bars that I battled him with, I used on 106 and Park.
Yo, do you remember
And
them?
Nah, I don't remember. I just remember specifically, yeah, because it was like, this is fit. Like, mind you, this is how it wasn't. It wasn't no, oh, you got a few days to prepare your bar. Like, he said he could battle me, and it was like, okay, when people go on break in 2 hours, y'all are gonna battle. So I wrote 30 bars in 2 hours, memorized them, and battled him for an hour of studio time.
Dude, that's masterful. Holy shit, dude. I can appreciate how hard that actually is to fucking do, okay? I mean, I'm not saying I'm good at stuff, but I can appreciate how hard it is to memorize it. That part, I'm dying right now. So the fact that you wrote some shit, you smoked a dude, you memorized that shit, you pulled that off, and again, you're still young. Holy shit, dog. You are good at what you do.
Yeah, nah, so then I started recording there with him. And they had like an independent label, and they were acting like they wanted to sign me, but they were full of shit. And then the next thing was 106 and Park. It was 106 and Park after that.
Right, so let's pause. Before you tell us about your part of the 106 and Park, you got to understand that I kind of know what that means. And I know I'm supposed to know what that means. But let's have a moment where you stop before you move on and you explain 106 and Park and its significance and why it's important that you wanted to even audition for them.
All right. So before I do that, I'm going to take a bathroom break. I'll be right back.
Yo, straight up. I'm glad you felt that way. I've been holding it in for a minute. All right, we're going to take a bathroom break.
Right. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves. I've been in the chat with most of you. You know what I mean? I hope people are tuning in on the other platforms, you know? We're re-streaming, so you catch us on Facebook, catch us on YouTube, catch us everywhere. Yeah, I really hope y'all. Yeah, we were talking in the chat about the cities, and I was saying to you guys, like, you know what I mean? Like, Camden is right next door to Philly, and that's like murder capital in America. You could Google it. You could look up their. Like, just look up their name and that will automatically come up. And Philly is right next door to Camden. So it's like, that's why those are both places that, like, there's just a lot of, it's like New York City. Shit is rough. Shit is extra rough, you know? And Chicago, of course, as well, you know? But those are all cities that are very similar to, like, New York City. Like, they got a lot of shit in common with New York City. You know what I mean? Bones, I was just telling them about Camden being next door to Philly, and that being you know what I mean? Like, it's Philly and Camden is like fucking Brooklyn and Queens, right? And Camden is like that super hyper. Like, how many years, right or wrong? Camden had murder rate capital of America for like a decade plus.
Terrible.
You know what I mean? Like,
and that's a small city. That's a little ass city.
Super small, bro. I grew up with my family out there. My family's in Philly and in Camden. So I grew up out there all the time.
Nuts. That shit is nuts out there.
Always been bad. It's been horrible since the 80s. You
Terrible.
Know what I mean? Yeah.
Yo, I appreciate y'all sharing that. Just so you know, we got DJ Blaster in here, and this guy's Montreal royalty. This guy's a huge seminal part of the history of our city, so it means a lot that he's here, and I just want to give him his flowers and give him his love while we're here because, you know, Montreal's a lot that's going on, and he's part of the reason I'm even on Twitch because I saw him using this shit, and I just wanted to give him love for that, so since he's here,
salute. Oh, you always got to honor the DJ when it comes to hip-hop.
Yo, but Blasters is actually the first guy to ever put me on the radio, and I bombed it. I bombed that shit. It was embarrassing. I wasn't ready. I didn't know what to do. But he let me come on and he just played my shit. And that moment is something I'll remember for the rest of my life. So it's really cool that, you know, it's cool. Like, That's why I think it's important to share that. I'm learning about giving flowers properly. So if it is what it is, awkward, it's just kind of what it is. So
Nah, it's all good. It's all good.
So let's go back to 106 in Park and what it is and the importance of it. And thank you, because the hard part about streaming for hours is the pee breaks, man. It's so like you hold it in as long as you can.
Right.
So yeah, go back to 106 in Park if you want. If you that was
all right,
awful.
so 106. All right, 106 in the beginning. It's a countdown show. So at some point, right around the time that I even started like really like taking writing seriously, because before the rapping came the writing. So before I take the rapping serious, I'm writing because I understand practice. You had Freestyle Friday, which before we get into this, I feel like it doesn't get enough props, because there was one point in time where Freestyle Friday was the only consistent battle medium. And part of, I blame BT for part of that, but that's a whole nother discussion. So
right.
let's talk about 2001 when there's Freestyle Friday. So you have 2 rappers, 3 judges, a DJ drops a beat. They battle. This is a battle. You know what I mean? And the classic terms of what a battle is, and that's 2 MCs going at each other. So in the beginning, it was like Jin and Poster Boy in the beginning. If y'all not familiar with who they are,
Wait, Jin?
Jin was an
Like
Asian American.
I know who Jin is. Okay, so Jin is one of the guys. I don't know a lot about battle rap, I'm gonna be real. But when I was in Cégep, which is our in between of high school and it's Quebec thing, it's whatever. I'm about 20, 18 at that age. Jin had his like big run where he got really popular, and people who didn't really know anything were just like, Jin's the best. And then Jin's album flopped.
Jin like for, and I hate to use this term because it has an Asian context, but Jin is like Mr. Miyagi for us, for me even. You know what I mean? Like Jin is my guy. You know what I mean? So basically, you got Jin. So Jin, you could easily pass it off as, oh, he's Asian, so whatever he does is like he only has to do it half as good because he's Asian, and it's like almost like, I might get in trouble for this, but like when a girl plays basketball, you know what I mean? Like she doesn't have to necessarily be like the best, but she's doing something that you're not accustomed to seeing a female do. But Jin is fucking, he's transcending the stereotypes, and he's dead fucking nice. So he goes 7 times. And not only does he do that, he does smack battles. He battled in Puerto Rico. He won a fucking car in Puerto Rico battling.
Okay.
But this is, so now we're getting to see where this platform could possibly take you. So you have Jin, you have Poster Boy. They have this thing where if you win 7 times, you're in the 106 in Park Hall of Fame. That was the early 2000s. By the time 106 came about for me, once again, I'm in Philadelphia. I have a child. I got responsibilities. I don't give a fuck about that shit. I'm trying to put a couple dollars in my pocket. I could care less about 106 in Park. But they did this thing at the time. It was called March Mayhem. March Madness is the basketball shit. Yeah, so they called that March Mayhem. Okay. Where they brought back all the champions. Everybody that had won 7 times, they brought them back. And if you won that, you were the grand champion. And they had all these prizes for you and so forth and so on. So a friend of mine calls me and she tells me that I should audition for 106 in Park. Now, mind you, because I didn't really get into this because I don't really like to glorify it because, you know, I'm older now and it's just a blessing that I'm even still here. I did a lot of shit. I did things in the streets. So my content is reflecting that. And I didn't think I could go on 106 in Park and be successful because it was kind of like some kiddie bubblegum shit. And Dutch, I'm about to fuck you up with this. This is some shit that when I said it to Conceited, it blew his mind. So basically, I had to change my content to match what would be successful on 106 and Park. By this time, Loaded Lux had been on there. Immortal Technique was on there. He had Immortal Technique actually lost the Poster Boy, but look at how he turned that into something prosperous for him. Hell Rel was on there. A lot of people was on there. But these people, these names that I'm naming, they lost on there. So I say, how do I win on here? So I started studying it. Woo. How to win on 106. I started studying, basically, like my friend told me about it, because I can't leave this part of the story out. There was like a deadline to RSVP for it. And by the grace of God, she called me on the day of the deadline, and I was walking into the gym at my job, and they had a computer there for me to RSVP at. So I RSVP'd for the audition, because you had to RSVP to even audition. Fair enough. This is the part that I'm telling you that fuck. When I told Conceited this, I studied Dirtbag Dan, Caustic, and God Bless the Dead, Cadillac Ron. If I'd have never told you, I don't know if you know.
That's crazy. That is very crazy. That is insane, yo.
Listen,
that's,
those were
Holden. Like, that's not what you would think. Like, knowing
I don't know what that
Bones
means. You just said a
and
bunch of
knowing
names
his
to me.
style is just like those names. It'd be
You'd
like,
never thought
let's were to say, yeah, like let's were to say, Holden. So you're an Aesop Rock fan, right? If Aesop Rock were to tell you that his three main influences were like fucking, like I don't know, fucking. Trying to think of the most commercial shit, Poppy. You know, like fucking Kids on the Block, Backstreet Boys, and NSYNC. You'd be like, "What?
Right.
It's very polar opposite than what he's known for. You know what I mean?
But I'll tell you this.
It's also very smart because those are all talented guys.
And what I got from them was very aggressive humor. So I knew that, okay, I could bring the aggression from what I do out here, but I can't bring that content. But if you're funny, if I make these people laugh like the way that they make them laugh, I'm gonna win. I'm gonna win this shit. And I was talking to somebody from Lux Block earlier today. I remember I was walking through 8th Ave where Lux is from, and I saw Loaded Lux, and I said, yo, it was funny because like this is a different era. This is New York City, and I'm looking at Lux, and this is before Lux was righteous.
Let's say I've heard of Lux, so I understand that name. I've heard of him.
Yeah, so Lux is standing on the gate, and I'm looking at him, and he's got his hands in his pocket, and you really have to be from New York to understand this. So I look at him, and he balls his hands up in his pocket like whatever you about to do, I'm ready for you. And I'm like, I'm just asking him. I said, yo, son, you Loaded Lux, right? And he like, yeah. I said, yo, I'm about to go on 106 and Park. Like, you got any suggestions for me? And he was just like, well, whatever you do, don't curse. And just do what we do out here and take it to that stage. And then I auditioned for it. I auditioned for 106 and Park. I auditioned for 106 and Park 2 days before my grandmother passed away, I believe.
Ooh.
Or it was like a week or something. I forgot what it was, but it was in June or July of 2009. I got it tatted on my hand. That's why I'm looking at my hand.
Okay, that's really sweet.
So basically, I auditioned. I went to the audition. I had the RSVP for the audition, and I was kind of having a rough time at that moment. And I got this homeboy of mine. He's a 5%er, and he told me like 5%ers are like, these motherfuckers are just very knowledgeable. Right. And this dude told me that on June 1st, I was going to get some good news. And I checked Uh, wait, nah. I don't want to tell this the wrong way. Either way, I signed up for the audition. Okay, this is what happened. I signed up for the audition, and the guy told me on June 1st you're gonna get some good news. And I thought he told me June 1st was gonna be a good day for me. And I thought I was gonna be walking down the street and find a bag of money. So June 4th comes and nothing happened. And I'm like, yo, this guy's a fucking weirdo. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't even know what he was talking about. And I checked my email like June 4th or June 5th, and that's when it told me to come audition for 106 in Park, which was later on, right before my grandmother died. And when I checked the email, it said that it had got sent on June 1st. Damn. So I kind of almost felt like, wait a minute, like this is like destiny falling into play right now. Right. So I go to the audition. I went to the audition. The line was fucking around the corner, man. And the way that they had it was you went in groups of 8. So you go in 8 at a time. So let's say 1 through 8, right? So you get in there and they'll say number 2, and they'll say your name and wherever you're from. Step to the front. You're going to battle number 7 and say his name or wherever he's from. So the crazy part is, as I'm talking about, the line is down the fucking block. So I'm waiting out there all day. And then as I'm going into the line, a guy comes downstairs because now these guys that have already went in there, they're coming down and they're telling us what happened upstairs. So a guy says, he says to the one kid, like, yo, don't curse when you go up there, and it's gonna be like this. This is what the setup is like, and this and but this is, you gotta remember, these are rappers, and this is young men, testosterone, competitiveness. So the guy says, like, man, I'm gonna go up there and do what the fuck I want. I don't care what you told me to do when I go up there. So he's like, well, damn, like, why are you acting like that? Like, I'm just telling you, I just came from up there. Why are you telling me? Like, I'm telling you what's going on up there. So you can't. So what's up with you? So then it turns into, matter of fact, battle me right now. So these guys are battling. This is like right before I go in. So the guy that was still online is battling the guy that just came from downstairs, and the guy that's still online, he's fucking smoking this dude. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, and this is like some rapper shit. Like, he's like smoking him, and he's still rapping as he's walking into the door to audition, and he's just smoking him. And I'm like, Jesus Christ! I'm glad that guy went in before me, and I don't have to battle him up there. And then that wound up being one of the first guys I battled on 106 in Park, and I smoked him, by the way. So then all right, so they're telling me, yo, whatever you do, don't curse. So I had a rap that had curses in it. So it's crazy because we don't even do this shit no more. So I had to rap, but I was so seasoned at that time that I shuffled the rap around in my head, where that, like, when I spit the rap, like, I basically like blurted out the curses. And then my punchline was like, come on, judges, y'all gotta give me credit, because y'all said I couldn't curse, so I did my own edits. And the fucking judges went nuts. And I was like, now mind you, this is like I didn't get a reaction like that since I battled my man Davon outside. I got a little bit of love. I got people saying I was nice, but I'm in Philly and I'm battling, so I get a crazy reaction off of this. Oh yeah, I said I'm the Don. You got to admit, I think I'm hot shit. I pop shit from a 750 cockpit, but instead of me saying shit, I was like, you got to admit, I think I'm hot ish. I pop ish from. So it sounded like, what is he saying? And then I followed, come on, judges, you got to give me credit, because y'all said I couldn't curse, so I did my own edits. And
Yeah, it's
then
fire, dude.
and so listen, so
Yo, just to add to what you just said in terms of how hard that is to do, I had a story of my own, a similar. I got asked to perform at this park, in public with kids, and so we were asked not to perform. And the guy who went on before me cursed, did it all bad, and was trying to make a whole
right,
scene out of it. So now I got this extra pressure on me, right? Like we had
right,
this guy who's already acting a bit of tomfoolery, and so I had to
right,
go through it. I had 2 tracks ready to go, but then they're like, "Keep going." And I wasn't ready with that third one. When you're practiced and you're like ready for shit, and but the thing is, that people
right.
don't realize a lot of this is kind of muscle memory when you're like written it and shit. So you're
Yeah,
fucking going
yeah,
through this thing, and if you wrote the word fuck, it's like a real effort to not say it. Right, that you have to think about a bit
no,
above
it
and beyond a
is.
regular. So when you're telling me you did
Right.
that, it really is like an extra effort that's worth the credit, right?
And
Because it makes
and
it
I'm
so
talking
much harder.
on the spot. I'm not one of those guys that's known for freestyling,
Right.
because they called it Freestyle Friday. We was battling for like I cannot come back to my neighborhood and lose on television, let alone we was battling for money, a spot in the BT cipher. I'm going up there spitting writtens. Like fuck that. I got premeditated rebuttals. I might slide one bar in there, but I'm going up there with writtens. But basically, when I did the audition, the guy said to me, he said to the whole crowd, like, a lot of times people come in this room and they could rap, but everybody's not going to rap as good as Bones when it's time to get on television. And that stuck out to me because I'm like, yo, it's like, all right, there's 8 people in this room right now that are rapping, but there's fucking been 500 people here today that he's already seen. Like, why would he say my name of all fucking people?
Yeah.
So
So
then,
what's crazy is that like we've heard a couple of stories along the way. So one of them is from this guy Nunzio from End of the Week, who
right,
worked at Bad Boy Studio, the Daddy's House, as it was getting set up, and he was talking about the creation process of Daddy's House and how Diddy had like 16 people there, and at the end of the day, they built the studio, and then he cut it to 6 people, and the people that stayed, that made it past the cut, were not the people with opinions, were not the people that had the attitude. It was the people who followed the instructions of the executives that were in charge of them. And his attitude was, yo, you
right,
want me to do that? I'm going to do that. So why I said that is because listen to your story. You already told us the clue. You said it. You listened to their instructions, whereas other people tended to have an ego and an attitude about it, but you were humble
right,
enough to do it
right.
correctly. And that's amazing that you shared that with us, dude. Thank you for the knowledge nuggets again.
Yeah, yeah, no doubt, no doubt. But yeah, so I left. I left. This guy calls me about a month later, and I was ducking this girl. This girl was from the Lower East Side. Uh, the Lower East Side is kind of gritty, She was a little too
Shouts to
rough
the
around the
Lower
edges
East
for me.
Side. Shouts
Yeah,
to
shout
End of
out
the
to the
Week.
Lower East Side.
End of the Week that was their home for like over a decade plus, right? Like they was
Right.
at the Pyramid, you know
At
what I
the
mean? For
pyramid,
Wild
right.
Long. Yeah, you know what I mean? And we're on
Right.
their platform. There's the EO Dub
Yeah.
Zoom. So like shouts to EO
So
Dub
So
shout
for
yeah,
out
so
end of
hosting.
the
yo,
week.
shout out.
It's crazy how like whenever it's a New York thing and it's rappers in this New York City underground, like they always somehow they get there's a easy like, oh look, you know what I mean? End of the week. So
Well,
shout out
yeah,
to them.
right. So yeah, cause EO Dub like that's a staple in underground hip hop.
All right,
But
let's get
we
into
got
flowers. If you want to pause for a second, what do you think about end of the week?
well, yo, end of the week, like yo, you gotta understand like the breeding ground that existed there, like because I mean you had Pyramid, but EO Dub was just something different. You know what I mean? Uh like yo, like I mean I had only been a few times, but like I'm gonna be completely honest, like yo, when you talk about like a New York City crowd, like I didn't want no parts of that shit because you get up there with some like rap is just like comedy. Like you could kill one place. Yo, you get up at EO Dub, like that was a tough fucking crowd, yo.
Big
Believe me
fucking
when I tell
facts,
you,
yo.
a lot of swords got sharp in there, and I'm telling you, now I'm not gonna be apprehensive to get up there, but I had that 106 and Park shit attached to me where a lot, like Dutch knows me personally, but a lot of cats don't know that, like, all right, this dude, he's really from out here with us. You know what I mean? So I might have got up at EO Dub and it would have, oh, Bones, listen, I wouldn't even got a fucking rap out. Bones Brigante from 107, boo, fuck that commercial rap shit. Like that's EO Dub. EO Dub is like underground Apollo type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it's everything. It's battling. It's and one thing about, like, I can't say that about now because clearly, like, you got a nigga like Tekashi that came through. But the era that we come through, New York rap, like you can't be soft. You can't even get up. You could be nice, but if you're soft, like, you're not allowed to get up there. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't worried about that, but it was just like, that was a tough ass crowd. You know what I mean? In hindsight, I kind of wish I was able to sharpen my sword on that EO Dub crowd, because I've done shows at Pyramid, but I've never done EO Dub. Like, EO Dub is just like,
so
yo,
big
that
question
shit is just different.
End of the week is not doing their Zoom shits. Would you participate in end of the week today?
If it was like club type of shit, like, if EO Dub was still going down right now, would I?
No, because, like, it's happening in a virtual sense, right? It's kind of migrated into the internet, so it's the same thing, just online. It's not in the room and whatnot. Yeah, but it's just a different vibe.
Though. It's not. Yeah, it's not the same thing. Like at this point now,
artists,
where I'm at
for
now,
artists, it's
no, I'm hearing you. I only discovered it through the Zoom
era. It's really important. You need that crowd. We need that crowd.
Yeah,
New Yorkers, we need that energy back.
I need that energy. Yeah, I need that energy.
Okay.
Yeah, I really need that energy. So it's like, now at this point, like, especially like, I mean, I didn't have to go. Like I said, I had to reinvent myself. So I would want to test my worth at this point. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, definitely. But I would want to do it there, because it just it has a gritty New York City feel to it. Like, it's dark. You know what I mean? Like you don't know. Like, EO Dub is like, yo, tell your man, like, I'm going to the bathroom, bro. Make sure shit is all good. Like, it's that. Like, I don't know if you understand New York, like, underground hip hop.
I mean, I'm learning slowly as you guys say it to me over and over again. But, like, I mean, the facts is, no, I've barely any fucking idea what that means. It's just like imaginations, dude. Look, I look at New York on Google Maps, dude, and I don't fucking understand it. I had Flacco Bayo sending me fucking screenshots. So, like, this is the upper, okay, so I watched a battle with Iron Solomon, and in the beginning of it, it said New York, New York, and it said Harlem, New York on the other dude. And I'm like, why does that say New York, New York? And then I had to learn that that's what the fucking one area, Upper East Side or something, so all this shit's fucking weird to me. Like, I don't know any of it. This is fun.
Here's the crazy part. Harlem, New York is still New York, New York. But technically, it's technically Harlem, New York, because New York, New York just means Manhattan, and Harlem is in Manhattan.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I had to explain to him. Yeah,
I get confused though. It's hard to picture it because I've never been there. So, like,
well, like, nobody that's from Harlem is gonna say they from Manhattan. They're just gonna say they from Harlem, because
when you write that, like, I always say, like, the address, right? When you're mailing something, like, people from Harlem don't write like your name, your address, and then Harlem, New York. They just write New York, New York.
You write New York, New York. But
if
you're talking, you're gonna say you from Harlem.
Say you're from Harlem. Yeah, you're from your neighborhood. Right. You're not from the borough.
You're from your neighborhood, exactly.
Yeah, I love that. I love the way that you guys are explaining this. It's going to take me like 30 explanations before it fully makes sense to me. So thank you for contributing to my education. This is why it's called Bridge the Gap, because that's what you're doing here. It's not just me. There are other people watching that are going through the same transformation I'm going. We have 14 people on my stream watching. Like, they've been consistent, dude. They're glued. You're fucking entertaining, dog. I just wanted you to know that. There's chats going on. There's people, like, fucking, like, loving this shit. So I'm really glad that you're sharing this with us. So thank you.
Appreciate that.
And thank you for giving love to End of the Week and explaining what it is. Because, again, we are on their Zoom. And I think it is important to take some time and express it, especially to those that don't know that.
You got to even understand, like, what it even took to get to EO Dub. Like, EO Dub is, like, far east. It's east, right, Dutch? That's the LES. That's the LES.
Lower East Side,
So,
yeah, Lower East Side, all the way, yeah. They
so
used to
like,
be on Avenue A.
so there's no train to get to Avenue A.
Right.
So if
Nope.
this now you got to understand the hunger of a rapper that's coming from somewhere, like you're getting, because at this time, like, we not getting in cabs, there's no Uber, you know what I'm saying? So you're getting off the fucking train and you're walking all the way from the west side or the furthest most east train that you could have took, and like you're practicing your rhymes on your way there, like
Union Square. You'd get off at Union Square probably, and then you'd get off at Astor Place. You
and
know
how
what I mean?
far
Right
is that?
by the
How
Cube.
far is that walk, Dutch?
And that walk is still it's a few avenues. The avenues are longer than the streets.
It's longer than
right?
the streets,
are
right?
short.
So
yeah, the streets are short.
You
So
walking them,
the
listen.
avenues.
So you walking them avenue blocks and you practicing your shit, like, yo.
Do y'all hear what he's saying though?
I'm not trying to get
like y'all. I just gotta say, I gotta stop you. I don't mean to be rude, but we gotta pause because you're doing the knowledge nugget shit, and we gotta really focus on it. So for one thing, if you wanted to be somebody in the environment, you had to want it, right? Because there's some people I know that don't. I'm not gonna say names, but like they don't want to travel an hour to go do a thing. You know what I'm saying? So the fact is not only did you travel, but yo, so I've had to go to some venues that were an hour away. I'm not gonna lie to you. What do you think I'm doing on the fucking subway? We call it a metro, by the way. I'm on the metro, and this shit, I'm fucking sitting there, and I'm fucking practicing my shit on the way there, because you don't want to look kind of goofy with it. I'm the kind of guy that if I'm gonna perform at a show, I want to be spotless. I want to be flawless with it as much as possible. I actually fubbed a bit on the fucking end of the week Zoom call last time, and I feel very embarrassed, but it is what it is. I overworked. I overcommitted. It is what it is. But the rest of the time, like, I want to be flawless with it. So the fact is, though, you taught us not only to be prepared when you come to play with the professionals, but you also taught us when you take in public transit, you can use that time productively. Dude, I wrote my whole album on the bus to work. Okay, my whole last album was on the bus to work. Because, yo, a long time ago, I figured out that trick. And it's a big knowledge nugget for the people. Because you see how many people sit there and just bump tunes and space the fuck out and don't actually use the time on their public transit? Because, yo, it's last time then. It's last fucking time if you're not using it productively. Right. So thank you for sharing that again. That's huge. Right. Also, I had no idea that you actually had to travel like that to get to end of the week. I didn't know it wasn't like, yo, because I didn't know anything about this.
That's like in a corner pocket of Manhattan. So
shit, man, you're sharing all kinds of great shit, dude.
Yeah, yeah, but
the only people that don't think that end of the week is far are the people that live in Lower East Side, where it's like it's backyard. You know what I mean?
So
like,
yeah,
to everybody else, you're from Brooklyn,
we can go back
Bronx,
to.
So you got to travel there.
So we can go back to the end of the week in parks and stuff, because it's fair. I just thank you for that, man, because it was great knowledge. But we can go back to you. We can go back to the story. It is what it is. So what happens after your audition process? You get told they're paying attention to you. They're saying pay attention to you.
So the guy calls me. The guy calls me and he tells me. I thought it was a girl. I thought it was this girl from the Lower East Side that I was trying to duck. I had like ghosted her. I was like, I started ghosting. Like I'm the forefather of ghosting women. So basically I was trying to ghost this girl, right? And I got a call from a number that I didn't know, and I thought it was her trying to like throw me off. And I put my sister as an emergency contact for the 106 and Park dudes. And this goes to show, because I know this guy enough to know that like if he calls somebody and they didn't answer the phone, he would have been like, fuck it. Like, you missed your opportunity. But he called my sister, and my sister called me like, yo, this guy from BET has called me, and he said he's trying to get in touch with you because he wants you to be on Freestyle Friday. And I was like, oh, shit. Like,
so I called him. What's Freestyle Fridays?
It's Freestyle Friday. Yeah, it's the battle on 106 and Park.
Right.
So, I'm at my grandmother's house actually, and I call him, and so he says that he's talking to me. He's telling me he wants me to be on 106 and Park. I put him on speaker so that my mother could hear him, and my mother, like, because people don't understand entertainment. So she's like, well, he wants you to be on TV so bad because he called me in like August and he said, I want to bring you on in December. And she was like, well, why does he have to wait? Why doesn't he want you on TV right now? And I'm just like, whatever, like you're like, come on, like, but she just, it never made sense to her, you know, whatever. But he was talking to me, and when he was talking to me, we spoke for like a half hour and 45 minutes. And I just said to myself, there's no way he could talk to everybody that auditioned for that long because it would take too much time. So if he talked to me that much, that means like, because he was telling me like, yo, he was asking me like, yo, like, what are you into outside of here? Like, do you work? Like if I call you, because he was saying to me, like, if I call you in a few months, you sure you're going to be ready? And I'm like, nah, like, I'm ready. Like, I've been waiting for this type of shit my whole life. You know what I mean? And he was like, are you sure? Like, you're not going to be in jail or nothing. Like, which is the sad reality of some of the stereotypes that rappers get. But he was like, yo, you sure? And I'm like, yo, I could do this. You know what I mean? And he's like, I'm going to bring you on at the right time. That's what he just kept telling me. And I'm just like, because I mean, I'm almost thinking the same thing my mother's thinking, like bring me on now. Like, fuck that. Like, I waited all this time for it. But in hindsight, this is just giving me more time to go and study because this is 2009. This is the beginning of YouTube. There's not a lot of battles on YouTube. Like, so the battles that are on there, I'm studying this. And I just understand that if I bring aggressive humor, like Cadillac Ron, Caustic, and Dirtbag Dan does, I'm going to win. Woo. So.
Do you know what he just said there? Again, this is a knowledge nugget that's come up multiple times in this man's story. Market fucking research. And I love that about you because market research is something a lot of people don't understand. There are realities to things. Like a lot of things we talk about later on in life with the people making albums is how long should your album be? Well, the truth is your album should be as long as the market wants, because if you really want your shit to move, it's what the market dictates that matters. So if everybody wants 4-track albums, you can be the guy dropping 13. They're only going to listen to 4. That's just what it is. So in the same way, what you're saying is you understood this opportunity in front of you. You paid attention to the people that were excelling at this. You market researched, right? Because that's what it is. Yo, I work in corporate America, dog. I'm middle management. I do project management, all this shit. I know all about planning out some stuffs. So what we're doing is a pivotal part that I don't think a lot of people actually take the time to do. Before I even came into these interviews, dog, I looked up people. I was watching Joe Rogan, Joe Budden, this guy, that guy, the next guy, etc., to see how they did it and why people wanted to stick around. That's why I'm confident we can go for hours and motherfuckers are going to stick with us because we vibe right. That's amazing. But it was also market research. So you shared that so many times. I just had to pause and make sure that people understood that you keep doing this, and it seems to be a pivotal part of your attitude and the way you approach the world. So I'm just wanted to make sure you knew that was fucking cool.
Thank you. Definitely. No, that definitely is a part. I mean, I just understand like studying, like, you know, that was kind of put into me from a young age with my mom's. That's how she just taught me like to read as much as you can, like just information, you know. And I just, you know, I come from many eras, like that's why 80s babies is the shit, because we smack dab in the middle of all of this. Like we caught the older generation. We were young enough to
catch facts. Big facts. You know, shouts to 80s babies, baby.
Straight up. I'm with you.
And we're still young now where we can take advantage of shit
like this. We had to come up with the old school shit and know all the old shit, but we also had to adapt to the modern age and the modern shit. You know what I mean?
Yo, straight up, man. You got some 80s babies in the chats. I'm 87, so I'm right there with you. Love it.
Right. So basically, I just when I got the call, I just fucking when I walked in them studios that first time, I said, all right, this is it. I said, this where I belong. This is what I'm supposed to be doing up here. And I just went up there and aired that motherfucker out.
It's dope, man. I love that you know what's cool? I like the fact that you went into an environment that you liked. Because, yo, I had this experience one time, just to, like, share a bit about me. I think that's fair. I got to go to Pakistan with work, and I spent a month there. Now, the thing about going to Pakistan when you're on salary with a per diem is it's like because of the per diem and everything, my salary literally 10x'd for a month. So I was instantly worth 10 times what I was. And it was for 1 month. But it gave me a taste of, you know how good
Right.
it felt to buy McDonald's for 8 people? Be like, shut the fuck up, bills on me. I never experienced that before. But I
Right.
experienced that in Pakistan. And that turned out to be
Right.
the best part of having wealth was to, that's why, like, man, I just did a contest. I gave people money on Christmas. To me, that was the most cool thing I could have ever done with extra cash in my life. You know, like,
Right.
that isn't meant to floss. It's meant to show that I'm still about that life, right? That giving is this
Right.
power inside of you that's just amazing. It's just things we should all be focusing on, right? But I didn't know that that was the most pleasurable part of all of this, was to be able to give back like that. So anyway, I just thought it was cool that, anyway, I got a little distracted there. I'm sorry. There's a lot of chats popping up. People got excited there. But yo, anyway, we can go back to you there. I forgot where I was at with
Yeah,
that.
no, that's just what it was. It was. I got up there and I just decided like, yo, I'm not gonna lose. Like I said, I can't go back to my neighborhood and say I lost. So I just got up there and did my fucking thing. I won 7 times. It felt like every time I won, like the stakes was getting higher. And
But you
yeah,
did it
I just
though.
did that shit. Yeah. Yeah, I did that shit. Yeah, that was. But 106 was like a gift and a curse though,
How come?
because there's no such thing as overnight success. Like, so even these people that you think got overnight success, they had a long story. You know, you just don't hear their entire story. But 106 in Park was as close as overnight success you can get to, because like I went from like just being at work one day, like changing the trash and sweeping the floors, to like literally up to the point where like people, like when I told people I was gonna be on, they was like, yeah, right, like fuck out of here, you're not gonna be on
Right.
106 in Park. And I went on there and I won. Not only was I on it, because it's one thing to be on it, but I won. So it was
That
like,
is big.
yeah, it was like, wow, like it was like overnight celebrity. And I think that if I wouldn't have did 106, I would have still found my way to wherever it was that I was going. Maybe not, because I don't live with regrets. So I don't know if I'd be where I'm at now. I'd be somewhere different. But I just think I would have worked 10 times harder. I got kind of my ego got inflated when I did 106. So I feel
Okay.
like I probably, ego aside, it would have made me work a little harder. But that's kind of where I'm at now, where it's like, all right, fucking like just do the work. Because by the time I got to 106, I wasn't worried about the work no more. The celebrity was there. Like I was like I went from like a matter of months, like I won 7 battles, and then I'm on a red carpet at the BET Awards, and
Well,
For
hold
doing a
on.
cipher
What?
with
context, you
Wiz
know what I
Khalifa.
think? You know
No,
what
because
I
like I
just
feel
thought
like
about?
you're saying a lot, but
Bones.
you were on a red carpet to the BET Awards. That's something that's big. That's
Yeah.
huge. Why don't you tell us
Bones,
about that?
real quick to tell y'all, like, I just thought about it. BET's this Freestyle Friday, this competition that he's talking about, it was essentially United States of America's first ever what do you call that? American Idol. Like, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like before there was
Yeah,
ever any competition of anybody like getting, you know what I mean, like a winner. Like this was a thing that people were
and
glued to their TVs all
and this
over
is
the
what I'm
country.
saying, and this is why, and it's crazy that you put it like that, Dutch, because this is why I feel that it's BT's responsibility, and I'm not just saying for my sake because I was on there,
Nah,
but for
speak your truth, man.
everybody that went on this fucking show and bought these levels of your, first of all, it's ratings, it's competition, it's minorities not in the streets doing some bullshit. So I feel like not just for my sake, like for everybody, like y'all it should be held up to a higher regard. But BT just, they don't, like everybody else, they holds what they do like to a high regard, like whether it's in the past or it's the present. BT doesn't do that. Like, why is there not? Why don't we have retro episodes of Cedar's World or hits from the streets or BT Uncut? All these fucking shits that made BT programming worthy of watching in our day and age. Like nobody fucking watches BT no more. Like what? Like you couldn't even tell me. You can't tell me one show that's on BT right now. And that was our entire
existence. I could not tell you any of the
existence.
shows you just said. So that's even a bigger point. The fact that I don't know a single fucking show you said is almost proof to your pudding.
You don't know these things because they don't make it like I watched Good Times. I didn't watch Good Times because it was part of my generation. It got put in syndication. Seinfeld will never die. All of these shows, like y'all have all these retro music shows. Yo. Why is that not on there?
That's huge, man.
Because what the fuck is on? What's on? Even now, like, why wouldn't y'all do that during quarantine? Do you know how many fucking people would watch that shit now?
I would watch that shit now. In a
fucking quarantine, the fucking shit would be through the roof.
Oh my gosh, a lot of people would watch that, and it would explain so much shit to a lot of people. I don't know a lot about BET personally. I don't know. I know the reputation is not as favorable as it once was. I don't know a fuck ton. I think the guy is one of the billionaires, the guy who owns it. I could be wrong about that because I do look at the billionaire lists.
Well, they sold it to Viacom. Whoever owned it sold it to Viacom, which right. I can't knock him for that because that's what you're supposed to do in business is right. build your brand and eventually sell it. But
I'm pretty sure he's one of the first black billionaires, which is why
Stephen Hill.
Remember it. Yeah.
No. He's talking. Stephen Hill was just the president. He's talking about Bob Johnson.
Okay.
I can't remember the name. Yeah, I just remember the story a little more. I could be wrong though too. I'm trying to but if you want to clarify, that would be cool because my memory is like
Bob Johnson is the guy. I'm almost positive Bob Johnson was the guy who owned the Bobcats, Charlotte Bobcats. That's why they were called the Bobcats because Bob Johnson. He was the guy that owned BT. And he built it up, and he eventually sold it to Viacom. But
okay.
I mean, it's water under the bridge. It's part of my history, and I don't live with regrets. But it definitely was a blessing in disguise. Like if I could, I wouldn't change it.
Yeah,
that shit was fun as fuck, bro. That shit was rock.
You could totally rock
that shit was
Blessing
rock
in Disguise merch. That's all I'm trying to say. If you made a shirt that said Blessing in Disguise with your fucking name on it or something, I'd buy that shit, dog.
Yeah, that shit was definitely that shit was definitely a blessing in disguise, yo. It definitely was. It was. I wouldn't say that shit was some rock star shit, yo.
That's really
that
cool,
shit was
man.
some rock star shit. Yeah.
So how do you end up getting into the battle rap live? Because I know I saw a lot of battles of you on the internet, and I feel like that's got to be around then.
So now I gotta bring you because now when we talking the early stages of what is battle rap at this point. So
okay.
So now Dutch, you was probably there for this. It's my first time. We at Southpaw. That's the shit by where they named the PH Street after, right?
Not far, yeah, absolutely. That's in Sunset Park. I think Cabin's here and Cabin's from Brooklyn. He could testify better to it, but yeah, I believe so.
But that was the name of the spot. That was the name of the spot.
Yeah,
that they used to have the grind time battles, right?
Yeah, that we used to do the grind time battles. Nah, absolutely. You're absolutely. I know exactly where you're going.
All right, so I go to Southpaw for the battle that Scream battle Vici there. Everybody knows battle Roan. QB battled Gadders. You remember this card?
No, wait. I think you might be, if you're talking about everybody knows Asian Cat, he only came out here to battle me.
No. Wait. Listen. All right. No, the only reason I'm saying, all right, Ron told whoever Ron was battling, he told the dude, everybody knows you battled, everybody knows, and you came back from the battle with everybody's nose. Who was he battling when he said that?
Oh shit, who was that?
He's
Was
battling
that
somebody with a
Lance?
big nose.
Yeah, I think it might have been Lance.
No, it wasn't Lance. He
Yeah,
wasn't. No.
no.
Because Lotta Zay battled that day, but I don't remember who he battled. But Rome
Was it
battled the dude and he killed him.
was
And,
it
and,
when
and
when
direct battle Young Zim that day.
Okay. So
that might have been not 7:30. I forget the name of the events, man. I
All
forget.
right, so
Everything bleeds together. But I know for a fact that we were at Southpaw quite a lot back then.
we were at
You know what I mean?
Southpaw. I was on my fourth week win of 106 in Park.
could you just
And I
even like,
feel
because here's the thing for me, like we got to talk a little bit about battle rap as like a sport element, how it looks. So let me tell you something. I watched some stuff from you from 2010, with this guy. I think it's Usaka or somebody, and it's a whole different vibe than say this
Uncasa.
other one I watched. Sorry, Uncasa. I know
Yeah,
I
you
said it
just
wrong.
butchered Uncasa's name.
I'm not even trying
Yeah,
to be
it's okay. You're
disrespectful
good,
like that.
Holden.
that
Nah,
was
I'm
it's
crazy.
hilarious.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It's funny though. It's funny though. You're good.
I'm glad you
You're
guys
good.
feel
You're
that
good.
way.
That shit is
Because
hilarious.
I try. I was looking into it, and I was like, it was different because you guys were such different styles, right? Not. I remember telling like Flacco, like, yo, I don't think I could battle rap. If people are gonna yell in my face like that, I don't think I'm gonna like it a lot. So first of all, that's crazy that you go through that. But second of all, just to like contextualize it further, I'm watching some shit later on, and there's motherfuckers that are judges that are giving you commentary between verses, and I'm like, this is fucking weird. How, like, because yo, what the fuck? Like, that's not even the same thing anymore. And then so let's go into what battle rap looks like.
You talking about when I battled? You talking about when I battled Enes?
Yeah. And there was like motherfuckers talking and
Yeah,
shit.
you
So it's
talking
like
about
there's so many ways that battle rap manifests. Now you gotta listen, man. I didn't know what battle rap was, and then all of a sudden Flacco's like, you wanna talk to Iron Solomon? And I'm like, okay. So I did. But I had to learn about battle rap, and now I'm like just cherry picking shit, and there's this street shit over here, and there's like a million ways it manifests. So like some of this stuff is mad inherent to you,
listen,
but I don't know a lot about it in terms of where you're at.
What battle rap is now? What battle rap is now? I came in at the beginning of it.
Ooh, interesting.
But it's evolved drastically. So like you see, we getting old. I just told Dutch about these battles. I promise you he was there. He don't remember these shits. You see what I'm saying? Like, but I'm on 106 and I don't like it's BET. This is fucking television. This is the pinnacle of how media is processed at this point. And I don't feel like I'm getting the credit I deserve. So I go to Southpaw at this battle because at this time, like now, well, it's COVID, there's no battles, but like if all this shit was open, like there'd be like the battle would get announced, tickets would go on sale. You only heard about this shit if you were in the know. You know what I mean? And I even felt like it was hard enough for me to get in the know and find out about an event. Like, so I felt like I wasn't getting the respect, and I come from the pavement. I felt like I could compete with motherfuckers. So I go, yo, Dutch, you gonna laugh at this, yo. You never heard this story, yo. That's why I'm glad you hit me up for this shit. So I go to Southpaw. I know PH from Blaze Battles. It used to be this shit called Blaze Magazine, right?
Right.
Hold up, I gotta let my shorty
Rest in
credit.
peace. Rest in peace.
Yo,
Rest in peace to
if you're gonna do that,
Word
let's
up.
take a little break.
So I go to Southpaw. I tell PH like, yo, I'm Bones Brigante from 106 in Park. Like, yo, I want to battle, bro. Like y'all got this shit. Like this the shit I come from. Like, yo, I'm telling PH like, yo, bro, like I know who you are. Like from Blaze Magazine battles. If you don't know about Blaze Magazine used to have battles, and like
they did a battle series on HBO.
They did, yeah, but right, they did this shit on HBO with Idea and Shells, but before that,
RZA, Capadonna.
Right, you had to read about this shit in the back of the Blaze magazine. Like you're reading, you can't even see the battle. You're just reading about who won the battle. And PH was a staple. I think. Where was they doing? Was they doing the battles at EO Dub? I don't know. I don't know where they was doing.
I don't know. That is before my time. They were, but they were.
It's before,
yeah,
because this is before.
Yeah, that was before our time.
This is when like I'm still like 13, 14 years old. So I give it up to PH. I tell him like, yo, bro, I know who you are, but like, I need in on this grind time shit, bro. Like I want to battle on this shit. So
What's
PH is telling me, PH is like, bro, I know who you are. I seen you on television. He describing my outfit. He said, yo, I seen you. And I said to myself, we got to get you on here. So I'm like, all right, so like, what we doing? He like, all right, he doing an event. He like, let me figure something out, you know what I mean? And we're going to get back to you. So now, the next time I get to a grind time event, it was in a park when Philly Swain battled, who the fuck is the kid from Atlanta, yo?
Nestle.
That
was the first. That was my first event. That was the first Draft League event. That was the first event that we threw. We threw it in the park, and Nestle and Ines was the headliner.
Nestle and Ines, you battled there that day, right?
No,
Did you battle
hosting? Me and SoulCon was hosting.
Okay, so that day, Nestle and Swain battled. I'm talking to Direct. I'm talking to PH. They trying to get me on grind time. Direct tells me, all right, I'm going to get you to battle Lotta Zay. I'm writing for, all right, so cool. I like that. I'm writing for Lotta Zay. You know what I'm saying? Yo, shout out my nigga PH.
Hold on. You were writing for somebody else? You became a writer for somebody else? That's actually a whole thing.
No.
He's writing for that opponent. He's right.
Okay. So you're being said that you have to target this guy. So you're writing your bars for this particular individual. So you're able to go at him in particular. Just so that I understand. Sorry for getting confused.
Yeah. Exactly.
Understood. Thank you.
That's what we're here for. We're bridging the gap.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'm writing for my battle with Lotta Zay because after I took the PH, you got me something to eat? What you get? Bring it. All right. So after I'm talking to PH, I'm talking to Direct, and they're like, "All right, we're gonna get you to battle Lotta Zay." Now, I go to because I'm a half a Philly dude. So Swain battled that day, and that's my guy. So I pull up to his battle, and I'm talking to PH. Not PH. I'm talking to Penn this day. This is the first day that me and Penn start having a conversation. And this I'm gonna tell you how much of a piece of shit.
Penn had just took over the league from PH.
Penn took over the league from PH. So I tell Penn, yo, I was talking to Direct, and he's saying that he wants me to battle Lotta Zay. And Penn's like, I never heard of you. You can't battle Lotta Zay. And I'm like, nigga, I'm Bones Brigante from 106 & Park. What do you mean you never heard of me? He like, we'll figure something out, but you're going to have to either battle Lance or they had some other kid that used to be with them, a little light-skinned dude that was like, and he was like, that's just what it is. And I'm like, so I had because this is the days when we were sneaking bottles in the event. So we in the park, I ain't had to sneak it. So he like, yo, I had some Henny. So he like, yo, can I get some of that Henny? I'm like, can I get a battle, my nigga? Like, what the fuck? So I passed him the Henny, and he's like, yo, you my nigga for life now. After I gave him the Henny.
That's hilarious.
So,
but yo, that's actually a big
battle
one too.
never occurred.
No, but that's cool because I've had a moment where cause I'm not a drinker, but I'm a big time smoker. I always go to events with extra joints because in my life I find that if you have an extra joint to give to somebody who might I'd actually played out one time. A guy couldn't find a place to roll. He couldn't find a paper. So I'm like, you know what, dude, don't worry about it. It's COVID times. Right. He doesn't want to share a joint. I had one. I hooked him up. that guy's not my boy. Like, we proper today and now. So I love the fact that you shared that part, because it's really a good idea for life to be that guy when you had the opportunity, because it makes friends in a moment like that. Even if maybe you don't get something. Sorry,
yeah. So now, like, I think I might, yeah. By that time, I had won all my battles on 106 and Park. I won 7 battles on 106 and Park. So the next thing was the BT Cypher. So I do the BT Cypher.
Yo, real quick, I'm gonna start turning into like Nori and shit. Like, I started hitting up Penn. Like, yo, why you? I'm like, yo, Bones talking about you, and there's a horrible match. Why was you trying to set him up versus Lance?
That's amazing.
He said, nigga, I don't remember. LOL.
Listen, you know I remember that shit. I ain't gonna forget that.
You sure?
No, shout out to my nigga Lance, because Lance. Listen, Lance is my nigga. Like, shout out to him, but I just felt like
Lance's. These are all respectable names being spoken about with the utmost respect. I just don't think that stylistically that would have been a battle that would have like highlighted either of you really. Which is why I'm hitting up Penn. Like, why were you trying to set that up? What are you doing? Like, Penn is known for making great matchups.
Right.
This is not one of them. That would have potentially not been one of them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Dude, this is incredible. Like,
I now feel a type of way because I feel like y'all kind of like undermining me. So
am I?
I do the BT Cypher. After I do the BT Cypher, I'm like, see, this is where I fucked up though, because I let my pride get in the way of my business. Because after I do the BT Cypher, my phone is fucking ringing off the hook. Now, all the battles that I was saying I wanted to do, I took it personal. Like, well, y'all didn't want me to battle when I was asking, so now I don't want to battle. And I'm running around with BT. They got shows booked for me. I'm performing, because I still got a regular job at the time. So I'm performing every weekend while I'm in Memphis, Charlotte, Atlanta, LA, small parts like Jackson, Tennessee. I'm doing all these shows. I'm getting paid. Promoters is taking me out. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck battle rap. Because I'm going to these shows and it's women there. And like I said, at the time, when you battling, you go there and it's nothing but rappers there. Even now when you go, like, there's an audience, but the audience is all dudes. So I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling myself. I'm thinking the BT's selling me a bunch of dreams. This is part of the reason why I said I kind of regret it. Close that door. And I just feel like, yo, like they're gonna take care of me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm about to get this record deal and shit like that, because that's what they're telling me. So I'm turning down. Now Penn's is calling me, and he's like, yo, I want to do this. Now Beasley is calling me, because at the time I was in Philly, so I wanted to battle Tech 9 on Smack, and they're dubbing me. They're not booking me the shit. But when I did the BT Cypher, they was like, yo, like, oh, this dude is nice. Like, Wazzy Blah, we got to get him over here. And I was like, nah, I don't want to do it now, because when I wanted to battle, nobody wanted to book me. So what's the shit? What's that other shit that everybody be battling at on the lower, Dutch?
King of the Ring?
No, the venue, the actual venue.
You're talking about Club Drum.
Drum. We had Drum. Since you brought this up, we had Drum, and I see. Yeah, because now I'm thinking about you, because yo, all this shit is moments in time, because
that's why it's great, man, that you're sharing this, man. It's great. Look, everything you're saying is amazing stuff, dude.
Yo, Dutch, this is around the time when you battled Myers Lansky, and the nigga threw up in the bathroom.
Yeah.
Now listen.
Facts.
Shout out to Myers.
I definitely was feeling like Superman. Like I felt like I had put that on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like my energy was so overpowering that like he got physically ill. You know what I mean? And I was just like,
yo, I swear to God, I watched that not too long ago. And I remember the look on your face, like, look at this nigga, yo. He's fucking when he walked up the stage, he was like, yo, nigga, unbelievable. But cause you had a bar, cause listen, I'll absorb all this shit. Cause your bar was you're vague, I'm direct. To draw the disparity.
Yeah, I was doing a bunch of comparisons. I said, I'm iron, you're Enes, I'm math, you're T-Rex.
Right.
You're vague, but I'm direct. And it was because the owner of our league was direct, that was his name, direct.
Right.
And the owner of their league was vague. So it was like that was his name, and it was
incredible double entendre. You know what I'm saying? Incredible. Vague, we was at Drum, and Vague says to me, would you battle Uncasa? Because like I said, I'm turning down all these battles now. Like, nah, fuck y'all. Y'all ain't want me then? Fuck y'all. So Vague says, would you battle Uncasa? And Cam is in my top 5. So I felt like if I smoked Uncasa, I would get on Cam's radar. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I took that battle.
Uncasa, by the way, and all that is you know what I mean? Like Uncasa was a member of Dipset's like young dudes that was supposed to be like the next stars on the label. And because Dipset was already like a crew that had formed like it, because Cameron was able to successfully put on Jewels and Jim Jones, it was looked at like, well, why wouldn't it work out for all these other guys that he's supposed to put on? You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what's interesting about the names that you mentioned is that girls really like those guys. I don't know a lot of guys who like them in Montreal. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that guys didn't. I'm saying that for my life, the only people I ever heard talk about Dipset were ladies.
I mean,
so I think that's super.
That's a who what rapper don't like.
Right, I'm about to say that's a very desirable fan base.
So I mean, I say that because like I don't know, I watched a battle with the other dude, and I'm like, I don't know, he was just yelling and stuff. I don't know that he doesn't have class and finesse and stuff, but like yo, I mean, I know what Jules Santana is. I know all these guys. They were like fucking huge. But I'm also like in high school when those dudes are popping off, so their singles are like fucking all over. So I'm really, you know, I know all these names at this point. But yo, it's super interesting because you know part of your story, right? Any part of it, the bigs, the downs, the ups, and everything, like it's all lessons. Because the truth is, today you're one of the most impressive people I've talked to. I'm just being facts with you, man. I'm saying that on all levels. So like, the fact that you share anything, yo, mistakes, big things, nothing's bad. It's all about the journey, because at the end of the day, look how many shoes you have behind you. Look at the fact you have a lady that brought him food like that. That's some fucking big shit. That's an amazing thing. I had the same blessing in my life, so I understand how amazing that blessing is.
It's something to be grateful for.
And like, yo, I'm looking at you on social media, and I'm like jealous. I'm not like hater jealous, but like, yo, I want to learn kind of jealous, because I'm like, this guy's doing it right. This guy's doing it perfect. So like, all I'm saying is like, anything in the past, this is just how you got here, right? So all we're doing is reveling in your story, the ups, the downs, the all of it. And it's all amazing, man, because it makes me feel better about my moments of pride and ego, where I fucking, yo, when I walked in, man, I had an attitude, dude. I was not maybe being humble and appreciative. I didn't know anything, but I thought I was king shit. And that kind of attitude doesn't go very far. So the fact is, man,
this shit take time, yo. It takes time, yo. You got to really pay. That's why I say I kind of regret the 106 shit, because it took away the element of like the grind. You know what I mean? It was like, don't get me wrong, it was work. You know what I mean? But it was very instantaneous. You know what I mean?
But at the
So
same time, now it gave you a taste of something to strive for, which is huge. Which is,
right,
I think, what my earlier point with Pakistan was I was trying to say, like, it gave you a taste of something to strive for, and you didn't like fuck up too bad because you still killing it today, and your life is fucking dope. I'm gonna assume. I'm just saying, you sitting
right.
there and like looks good right now. So I mean, it sounds like it was just a good lesson. Cause yo, check it. How many people are able to sit here and talk about the time that they won 7 times on, 106 in Park and just make it all casual, okay? Yo, I watched some shit where you was Sway, and the way Sway talked about you, Sway doesn't talk about people like that, dog.
Yeah,
Sway
man.
is
No,
not like
Sway's
that
my
shit.
guy, yo. Sway's my guy.
So I'm just saying, like, to me, it's just really great that you're willing to share this shit because it's good for everybody to watch it all of this stuff. Plus, man, you're sharing, like, this history of battle rap shit. Sure, I don't know about it today, but you're giving me a lot of context so that, if we ever speak in the future, I'm going to know a fuck ton more by then. And it'll be
Right.
because you even dropped these things now for me to go look up a Blaze. I didn't know what a Blaze was. Now I know I
Oh
can
yeah, you
Google
gotta get in
that.
tune with that. That's history right there.
It's just, it's a lot for me. But,
I've
as
been
time
I've
goes
been
on.
I've been not wanting to overwhelm you. You know what I mean? Like I know it's a lot. Period. All we got a lot going on with the show. You got a lot going on with your own
Nah,
thing.
it's not
You
even
got a lot
about
going
that.
on work.
It's just,
But I don't want to overwhelm you. And it's also you should go ahead and do it like this. Like this is
I love it,
beautiful.
man.
Like you
This to
getting
me is
you
it's fun,
through
man.
this
To me,
conversation.
I'm just saying for myself, this is a gift, right? Because I'll be real with y'all. I mean, I'm not saying I'm a lazy person because I'm a workaholic, but I used to be a lazy person, so I try to do things the most efficiently as possible in my pursuits. So I could spit
Right.
there and I could do a whole lot of Googling, or I could talk to a guy who did smart shit, and then that guy could tell me stories, and that'll be more
Right.
fun. And that's what we're doing here. And I'm telling you, dude, we're still above 10 people watching for like what? We've been talking for almost 2.5 hours, dude. That is amazing. That's how interesting you fucking very much are. And I'm not gassing you up, dog. You don't have that many people stick around for like nothing.
Right.
That's not fake. You can't fake that shit. So I'm just
Right.
being real with you, man. It's been a pleasure to talk this far. So let's go back to this battle thing. Dude, what's the landscape like? Because what I really wanted to understand is the format. Right? Like, because I saw that battle and it was 3 verses. I didn't see a lot of your battles, I'll be real, but I saw that one and it was
Right.
3 verses going back and forth and stuff. So what is the format like? How is it judged? How is it scored, right? Because like even at that level, I'm going, I don't even know how anyone know who won that.
All right,
That
this is
just-
how listen. You go all right. You go by the comments, you go by word of mouth, but more than anything, me as a writer, it's how I made you feel when you left out of that building.
Okay.
Because when you in that building, because you got 2 different battles now. You got the battle on camera and you got the battle in the room. You know what I mean?
Ooh, can you elaborate on that for the people that don't know what you mean?
You have, I mean, I'm a punchline rapper. I rap in punchlines. So a lot of the shit that I do is catered to the crowd. The crowd is going to catch a lot of the things that it is that I have to say. Excuse me.
No worries, man.
But you got writers like a B Magic, like a Daylight, that Chilla Jones. They're so intricate in their writing that when you're in the crowd, you can't rewind what somebody just said. But when you're at home, you could bring that shit back. And it's like, oh my God, like that shit was some mind-blowing shit right there. So and that's this is what battle rap has evolved into, where it's people have different techniques. My technique is I want to embarrass you because, like I said, my outside of Philly, my introduction to the world was a judged battle. So I don't have the discretion of opinion where like somebody, if I got 30,000 fans and they believe in anything I say, when they watch my battles, they'll never think I lost. But my battles, when I came into battle rap, I was on television and all my battles were judged. So therefore, I have to make sure I win. So I'm writing for the crowd to make sure I win with the punchlines. So that's to put it in that context. That's how it's judged. It depends on your writing style. Your writing style is going to determine who won, because like somebody like Tiller Jones, not even Tiller Jones, just to go to a specific battle. I was at the B Magic versus Ill Will battle, and Ill Will, he's playing to the crowd, so it looks like he's smoking him, but on camera, the shit that B Magic is saying is so intricate that it's like, nah, he didn't lose. Like, now I gotta watch it again because that shit was really it was some other shit. Like, so that's how it goes. That's how the battle shit goes nowadays, you know.
So I think it's interesting that you said that, because I mean, I saw that Bodied movie, and one of the things they discuss in that movie is playing to the crowd, and that's why there's a lot of racism and things like that appear, because the truth is when you're playing to the crowd, you can't really drop the smart shit if the crowd matters, because the crowd isn't necessarily going to catch your bars. So you go to these lowest common denominator bars in order to incite the crowd. Because and I can see how YouTube changes that, because I know about all these classic battles like that one with Jin and Iron Solomon. I have people quoting that, like, about your Ore Jin and all of that shit, right? So people like were listening to it after, even if in the room I don't remember if it hit or not, but like it does change a lot when the internet comes into it. So I appreciate you just expressing that there is that thing to take into consideration. So yeah, anyway, thank you for that.
No doubt. So yeah, so that's what it was. I mean, it's all up to your discretion as to who won. But I mean, shout out to Uncasa, because in all honesty, the crazy part is he's family now. He had a baby with my cousin.
Oh shit.
So yeah, unreal. Yeah. But everybody know who won that. You know what I'm saying? Like, everybody know who won that battle.
I mean, I felt like I didn't understand Uncasa's style very well. I'll be honest with you. I kind of got it a little bit, but the way you came in made a lot more sense and resonated with me, and I enjoyed what you did with it, and I thought it was cool.
Some people like Un in that battle. You know, not as many people like me, but some people did.
That's it. I don't feel like I'm qualified to like myself say. I can say your version of it resonated, but I think it's like a whole other thing, because like the way that Flacco was explaining it to me was like, this is like Uncasa's from a different era, and you're in this new era coming in. So in a sense, this battle is like a clash of two eras and styles coming together. So like it makes sense that the shit I grew up with, that you kind of sound like and that I'm accustomed to, is what is going to resonate to me, whereas maybe other people are going to feel differently.
Essentially, me and Un are kind of from the same era. It's just that he was before me in terms of like notoriety and popularity.
Okay.
And no matter what, like Dipset is an entire movement. You can't really clash with them. But we're still from the same. We're from the same school of rap, more or less.
Fair enough. I mean,
yeah, we definitely from the same school of rap.
I listen to a lot of your stuff at this point. I can't tell you anything really specific at this thing, but I can tell you that listening to you consistently for like 3 hours in a row is a pleasant experience. So that is like, I like your pen game.
3 hours, Jesus Christ.
Well, man, you have a lot of material.
I wish I could get this girl that's here with me now to listen to me for 3 hours straight, because she's fucking hard at it.
To that, my girlfriend.
So listen, you listen to me for 3 hours straight, that's a blessing.
No, dude, you have battles that are fucking riveting for me to listen to, right? Because, look, I can't come and talk to a guy who I believe is literally like a living legend in the making and not do my due diligence. But really, dude, what surprised me was your Fragrance Fridays. I know that's ahead in the story, but again, you're so interesting on those that it made me pause the music for fucking my girlfriend's in the chat. She can attest that I'm like, you gotta come live, you gotta listen to this guy talk about cologne. I didn't know that cologne was so important. Yo, specifics, just so you know, I really listened to that because I couldn't tell you your bars, but I can tell you that you said don't spend money on Gucci. I'm telling you, spend money on the cologne. She's going to appreciate that more, notice it. And the subtext is she's going to do some things to you that you really want. Pay attention to that because, yo, the senses matter a hell of a lot when it comes down to the nookie. And so you was giving away free game. So, I mean, I couldn't tell you my favorite bar, but I could tell you my favorite cologne thing that you did bar. So that's just dope to me, dude. You're fucking cool. Anyhow, so let's go like a little bit back to the battles, and I guess you could walk us through your career a little bit and explain just some of the highlights. In I don't know, I don't really know how the story progresses. I know I've seen you battle a whole lot, and you did a whole lot of battling. So, and then you did a lot of things.
I did because, like I said, my ego got in the way of me. Like, I was getting calls to do a lot of battles, and I didn't do them. Like I said, it was my ego getting away. And I was kind of depending on BT to do all the things that they said they would do for me. So in terms of like, done a lot of battles. I got offered K-Shine. I got offered Math Hoffa. I got offered a lot of battles that I was like Mr. BT and I'm on television. And I'm like, I'm not battling those peasants. And in all honesty, that would have taken me further than me putting my faith in BET and because they didn't do the things that they said they were gonna do. But I did a few battles, but in terms of like my generation of rappers and like it's people that came in with me, like they got 30, 40 battles. You know what I mean? It's people that came in after me that have 30 and 40 battles. So I didn't do as many battles as I really could have done. You know. That's why I kind of
it's interesting that you look at it the way that you look at it, right? Because I'm sitting there looking at you drop this again. I'm gonna have to come back to your Fragrant Friday thing, dude. I'm telling you, I'm a fan. I'm watching that shit now every single Friday. So regardless of whatever you do, like it's so well made. Because you look at it maybe one way or another, but what I'm seeing is you have the literal ability to create this shit at home, do your own stuff. This sounds a lot like this BET stuff actually blessed your life in the current modern 2020 sense.
It did.
In a way where I don't know that battle rappers in a lot of ways are able to adapt as well in the modern. So maybe in like the big plan, it worked really well for you.
Right, it did. No, it did in that sense because I understand how to, and you're right when I think about it like that because I understand how to keep people entertained because that's what television is about. Like it's not easy to get people to watch you for an hour, for 5 minutes. Like if you're not interested for 5 minutes, motherfuckers will cut that shit off. So
big facts.
You know, I understood. Well, cologne is just something that I'm passionate about. What? Even the lift? Then just put it, click it. I just understood keeping people entertained, being informative, and I just understand the value of humor. So I insert, you know, I understand how fucking horny guys are. So I'm trying to let people know, listen, if you put this on, you're going to get the girl. You know what I mean?
I love it.
Like, for real.
No, for real. So, okay. So in Quebec, we had this strange situation with language politics. And the Quebec government's approach has consistently been to force French down our throats, like it doesn't matter, like, you know, like you have to do it. It's almost militant in the approach. It's fucking weird. But I had this experience because I was wise enough to learn to speak French, and I'm not saying that it's easy or it's whatever. I just made that decision early on that I should probably do it. And then at one point in my life, I was doing my player phase of life before I got settled down with the lady that I'm with now, and I realized I could go on dates and speak in French. And it got me laid because of my accent. And
right.
And I'm telling you straight up, I didn't actually have to try. I wasn't even looking good or anything. It was just because my accent was cute and girls was really into that shit. And I learned this power along the way that I should never make my French accent good. Je vais rester comme ça pour le reste de ma vie because it's just going to be like attractive to people. And that's just kind of what it is. So I feel like if the Quebec government were to just be like, yo, check it, learn French, she'll fuck you in a more politically correct way. It might be a more interesting way to get people to want to learn to speak French. Because you know what they actually did? They said in a literal thing, you got to greet people in stores with bonjour, that's hello, ho. Bonjour, ho. This is real shit. You can Google it. Our premier actually said that we have to do that. They spend time and government money thinking of ways for us to say bonjour ho. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's going to be the trendy Montreal trap shit for the whole fucking season. Because what the fuck is that?
That's crazy.
So, like,
That's
I really
crazy.
appreciate what you're saying, though, because I
Bonjour,
think
ho.
it's a real thing, dude. It's a real fucking thing.
If you say that shit in New York, it's going to be a problem.
All I'm saying is it's a real fucking thing that the Premier Legault, our dude in charge of Quebec, actually said to actual people. But what I'm saying is, instead of saying dumb shit like that, if you said, parlez français, you're going to get laid, you're absolutely going to get more people to want to do it. So in the same way that you resonated with the fact is, so again, back to your market research, you understood your audience. You understood who the fuck cares about this shit. And you also understood to take this education fucking level, right? So, like, you understood that if you take this educational approach, it's going to be good.
It's like this. Like I'm black, yo. So.
That's true.
I got so many, just in case you didn't notice. But I have so many stereotypes working against me, and I was raised to go against those stereotypes. So for me, it's like, when I get a chance to show people how informed and educated I am, I'm taking that chance. Like I'm gonna do that, you know, because I want to show people that I'm not just some ignorant rapper type of dude. Because like I said, so I'm black, and then like I said, I'm a rapper. There's so many things going against me in that sense. Like, people think the worst of rappers, you know what I mean? So now that I get to, I mean, this is a passion for me. I do this shit for free. It just so happened that I came out with my own cologne and I'm selling it. But before I did that, I was doing Fragrance Friday for a year and a half. So.
Oh, okay. So I think it's really important that we talk about Fragrance Friday because it's a great way to plug your shit. So regardless of your story, I think this is a great opportunity to make sure that we discuss this part of your life in full a little bit. Because, I'm a content marketer by my day job, and I'm all about community growth and all of these other things. That's like what I get paid to do at work. So to see you pull off everything flawlessly, dog, and that's what I'm saying. I think you knocked this one out, this Fragrance Fridays. It's a 10 on 10 smash it out the park hit in terms of your content marketing, social media, all of it. Like, you got shit that's popping without hashtags. That's fucking powerful, dude.
Right. Yeah,
So
I mean, I just understood, like I said, I did it from a passion standpoint. And then when I started well, first of all, I'll tell you how it should started.
That's wonderful.
One day I just thought of me, I'm on my way to the studio.
It is what it is. Thank you.
I'm about to go do a commercial for my fragrance. So yeah, I'm on my way to the studio. But
this is crazy cool, dude.
So basically, my phone was disconnected for the week, right? And I hadn't posted on Instagram in like a few days. So I said, all right, I need to post something. I got to say something on here because I know people was wondering where the fuck I've been. So I just posted about the colognes that I had. And that shit got a crazy ass reaction. Like, that shit got like it got the type of views that I would get if I was rapping. So I was like, oh shit. Like, I was like, yo, I'm gonna start talking about this shit. So I spoke about it one day, just being funny, like, yo, this is Fragrance Friday. And I got on a train because this is how it goes. I don't know how it goes in Canada, but Dutch will tell you, like, you get on a train in New York, and when you get off the train, that's when you get your messages and shit. So I got off the train. I got off the train, and I had mad messages.
Yo, big respect for wearing the mask like that. Big respect.
Oh, of course. We got to do that. You got a light in here? Can you cut the light on? You have the light on this side. Oh, thank you, sir. Gets a little abrasive.
Like a real New York taxi? That's so cool, dude. Yo, you're tripping me out with cool fucking shit. Like, that's so cool.
Yeah, so cut that one on over there. So yeah,
he's what you in? You in the Lyft or you in the Uber?
This is I think this is Lyft. Yeah, I definitely. This is definitely lit.
Still in New York. It is what it
Yeah.
is.
So yeah, I did the Fragrance Friday, and I just got a reaction off of it, and I was like, wait a minute, I just got to keep this shit going. And I didn't even know where I was going with it. Like I just knew, like this is what I'm passionate about, and and I just kept the shit up, and people just was started paying attention to that shit. And now here it is, a year and a half later, I came out with my own fragrance.
Yo, we absolutely linking that in every single clip we put out of this. We linking it everywhere we can. We're gonna tell people to come support you as much as possible. Yo, check out the man's Instagram, send him some love, and make sure you purchase his fragrance. I'm gonna do the same. I'm gonna look into getting one. Cause yo, it looks interesting. You got me invested in scents, dude. You got me thinking, yo, I gotta get my smell game on. Cause
Listen,
yo,
I
I'm
told
telling
you,
you,
she's gonna pay more attention to that cologne than she do that Gucci belt.
it's just big facts.
That's what I told you, man. What?
But yo, I definitely appreciate you doing this. I get the feeling that if you're on a lift, we are coming to the end of the time that we have together.
Nah.
Oh, we
Listen,
good?
listen. Yeah, we good, man.
Okay,
We
I was just
good.
checking that then.
Nah.
Cause you
We
just
don't. You
jumped
ain't
in the
got.
lift. I was just
Nah, you
curious.
ain't.
Didn't want to be
You,
rude. If you're
nah,
good,
you could
I'm good to keep
listen.
going, my man.
You
Oh
could.
my gosh.
You
But
could
if it's
take
okay
this.
with y'all,
You could
if
take
I
this
can just
whole.
take a pee break
Take.
though, I
Yeah. You could
gotta
take
take
this
a
whole
quick pee
journey with
break.
me. Yeah, go ahead, do that.
All right, yo.
Yeah,
Anyway,
we right
y'all
here.
can
We
talk
right
right
here.
now.
We right.
It's just yo. I was losing focus ability at that point. I had to, my bladder betrays me in these lives. I haven't figured out how to deal with that problem. I also think it's part of aging, and I might have that problem going forward for life. And I don't know, it is what it is. But
So
yo,
you might as well put the diaper on now if that's the case.
nah, we'll figure it out. But let's say so let's go back to the whole battle rap stuff. So, and then you're kind of doing the Fragrance Fridays, which is dope. But as we're going through your story with battle rap, what's it like to be like this kind of battle rapper in that era? Like, I mean, for me, it's like I'm looking at YouTube videos, and I know that there's a whole bunch of people that watching this in the after are huge fans of this era of battle rap, and have watched a lot of things going on like that. So, what do you what is it like being there?
Being a battle rapper is the most nerve wracking shit in the world. This shit it's fucking crazy. Like you practicing for months and weeks at a time. Like I even remember like one time I had went out with my shorty, right? And like we was at TGI Fridays, uh, and I had a battle coming up. So like we order our food, and I go in the bathroom, and I'm just like practicing my rhymes for like a half hour in the bathroom. Like yeah, I totally forgot. Like you're just in a whole nother world. I mean, if you ever seen like Eminem 8 Mile, like nobody wants to go through that moment where you freeze on stage and you choke. Like
Right.
Dutch battled a dude that had an Eminem moment. Like you could go look that up. Like you ever seen Dutch when he battled Myers Lansky?
I have not, but you mentioned it earlier, and you guys were talking about it, and you said you
I
literally went and threw up. So I'm definitely gonna check that out after.
Yo, the dude, and Myers is my man. It's not to air him out or no funny shit, but
No,
he
again, it's
literally
history.
went. Yeah, he literally like was on stage battling, and it's your adrenaline, the anxiety, the anxiousness, and he's like, yo, I gotta throw up, like walked off the stage and went in the bathroom and fucking threw up. So the thing for me is like the preparation. Because preparation is just key to anything. So if you prepare for a moment, like so that you don't have a moment like that, you won't have to worry about anything. Because that, like, I would never want to be embarrassed like that.
So it's
That's
interesting
bad,
you
yo.
said
That's
that because
bad.
at the end of the day, it comes down to preparation. You said 30 minutes before you're practicing. So I think that's key, right? Because I actually fumbled recently in a live. And the fact is I was winging it for a bit. I was relying on my laurels. I wasn't putting in the time in. And I finally hit one I just didn't know well enough to wing it on. And I fucking bombed. And it was a big slap in my face about the power of preparation. And you know what? If you're not able to do something, you don't necessarily have to do it. But if you are going to commit to doing something, you should make sure that you take the time to prepare for it properly.
Yeah,
That's
because
so
I
cool.
mean,
That was like real New York shit that was being said there.
but listen,
you could bomb even off of preparation, just the crowd not fucking with you. You know what I'm saying? So if like I'd rather bomb that way. Like that's battle rap is stand up comedy mixed with boxing. You know what I'm saying? That's
That
literally
is
what it
well
is.
said, man. That is
Like
a
like
great way to describe it.
that's literally what it is, because the punch lines are literally the punches. But in stand up comedy, like the greats, they all tell you like you have to go up there and fuck up to get your material right. But the only thing is, in battle rap, it's like boxing. You only got one time. You can't fuck up multiple times. So at the end of the day, like, you bombing is gonna make you better. Like I've had my moments. I haven't had no moments where I just completely forgot no shit. I'm not even gonna do that to myself. But like I've had moments where the crowd wasn't fucking with me. I battled in Detroit where they did 8 Mile. I
Yo,
battled young.
is that
They
the one where
fucking
Yo, I
they,
saw that one.
they
I,
booed the fuck
The
out me, yo. Like yo,
the
so
shank
this
the sanctuary, right?
Hold on, is that the one where the guy was basically saying, "Yo, this is gonna make it look bad for the video. Stop interrupting him and shit like that in the middle of it."
Exactly. Yeah, they was booing the fuck. Yeah, I wanted to die up there, bro.
Yo,
But
you handled that so well.
bro. But I mean, I would rather take my chances going out like that than just like not fucking saying anything and going to the bathroom and throwing up. That's crazy.
But all I know is I watched that battle in particular, and I thought you took that one to me. I listened to the bars, I listened to everything. I thought the crowd was kind of obnoxious. It is what it is. But
That
the
was
way you handled it
ridiculous,
all,
yo.
but like the way you handled it, because yo, again, it's the replayability. The truth is, it's 2020. Now I'm listening to it. It doesn't
Well,
matter. I wasn't in that room. And I
well,
think you sounded fucking incredible, dude. I'm just saying
I had
that straight up.
I had to finish my rounds because they wasn't gonna give me my money if I didn't finish. But I definitely wanted to say fuck y'all, and I'm not standing up here and rapping no more. But I had to get my money, so we got out of there. But at the end of the day, like, I'll take my chances with that. Like I'm not gonna take my chances of not being prepared and not being able to perform. Like choking, nah, bro, we ain't doing that.
But man, it just kind of made me a bigger fan of you that you handled it the way that you did because it was so professional. I like
Right,
professionalism, dude. I know
right,
about what attracts other people to other stuff, but I watched you. Like I've been on stages where people weren't feeling me. I know what it is to not like being in that moment personally. Maybe not to the same scale as you, but I
right.
can kind of relate with that. So to see you and go, man, that they were mean. Like they were obnoxious. Like it is
Yeah,
what it is. But you handled it what I would call in a boss way. That is some boss shit that you displayed in that moment, from my
appreciate
perspective
that.
at least. So to
Appreciate
me,
that.
that's a huge win for you, dude.
That shit was torture, man. I hated that. I hated that moment. Like, but I did what I had to do.
Man, it's just cool that like we're able to talk about it like that. Because I'm telling you, if you watch that battle now, you're not gonna see this guy looking silly. You're gonna see a
Right,
crowd looking silly and this guy looking fucking amazing.
right,
Um, So man, I think it's really cool. Do you like because you're doing the musics too? So that was another thing that
right,
really impressed me. So I actually told people for over the last little bit, yo, man, we're all fucking up. So I actually did a 15-week, 15 acapellas on Spotify thing. Because in the
right.
future, nowadays, I'm watching the CEO of Spotify be like, this is a social media platform. Feed me this shit. Feed me, feed me. And I'm like, I can't afford beats like that. So I did acapellas. But what you did on YouTube is kind of the same thing that was kind of modern if you think about it. Because you were doing it a couple of years ago. And now this
Yeah,
is like the
yeah,
trendy shit to
2 years
do.
ago.
So in the
Right.
same way, you're kind of ahead of the curve on this. How the hell did you land on these 1 minute freestyle video things? Because everything's looking on point. Everything's looking beautiful. And you sound fly. We was bumping them before you came on. They was loving it. It was a good time.
Right. Well, I had took so much time off from rapping. I knew I had to do something to grab people's attention. So me and my man Henrock came up with this concept of doing this shit called 30 for 30, where I did 30 videos in 30 days. And the reason that they're only 1 minute is because I had put them on Instagram. And
Mm.
yeah, I did 30 videos for 30 days straight on Instagram, and I just did it. I did it not. I did it for myself because I had so many things that were promised to me
Right?
from my moments at that I had told myself like, all right, you got to do this and not expect anything from it. Like just do the work. You know what I mean? And I knew that if I did the work, it would be a testament to my creativity, my penmanship, and it would also put my peers it would put me back on the radar of my peers to say, wait a minute, because there was, I mean, like I said, I was at the top of the food chain. You know what I mean? And the one thing that I know about life is, it has its ups and downs and its ebbs and flows. So just because you're at the top doesn't mean you're gonna stay there, and just because you're at the bottom doesn't mean you're gonna stay there. So I told myself, like, there was a point in time where my peers looked at me like, yo, like, he's about to be the guy. You know what I mean? And I felt like my lack of work, it took that away from me. So I said, all right, if I show my peers that I can do this again, like, it'll let them know, like, all right, we got to watch out for him, because this is rap. Even outside of battle rap, it's very competitive. Just it's only so much room for rappers. You know what I mean?
You know what's
So
crazy? It's just that, like, if we think about it today, me and my man Spades, who's commenting right now with his knowledge nugget thing that's there, is that you're basically kind of spit in TikTok marketing before TikTok existed, dude. Do you understand that that's how TikTok rap marketing works? Is exactly what you did. Like, do you know how cool it is that you were laying down a framework before it was like mainstream and shit? Like, that is insanely good, man. It definitely caught my eye. It definitely made me fucking appreciate your mind a lot more.
Nah, I had to do it. Like, I knew I had to do it. I knew I had to do it. So I did that shit, and that's what got me to Sway. That's what got me the bars on I-95. I knew that, like, at one point I was the freestyle champion. So this is what these people are looking for when it comes to me, is freestyles. So I just showed them that I could freestyle my fucking ass off.
So I could tell you which one of your
And then
freestyles was my favorite. I can tell you that because it was the Red Hot Chili Peppers one, which connects back to the fucking Red Hot Chili Pepper shit you said at the beginning. Because you got to understand, I can play that track on the bass, right? So that meant that it like hit me extra fucking heavy when you fucking spit on that one in Sound and Finesse, because not a lot of people are going through that, and you did it justice. That was my favorite of your 1 minute freestyles. I can tell you that straight up.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
No, that's so fucking cool. So what's next for you with these times that are going on? What's going on in the world in the near future for us to watch for?
All right, well, I just dropped my cologne, and I'm pairing my cologne with my music. I put a QR code on the back of my cologne bottle, so you could just go straight to my Spotify, my Apple Music, Tidal, hear my music. I got an EP coming out called 8 is Enough. I'm on my way to the studio to finish some shit on that. My man Goods got an EP that's dropping New Year's. You can look for me on that. We got a record on that. I don't know if you know who Goods is. He's a pretty popular battle rapper and a very good friend of mine.
Goods the God, know what I mean?
Yeah,
that Uptown legend, BX legend.
You're
Fact.
definitely gonna look into him more after this. That's why this is dope. You're teaching us who to look for.
Yeah, nah, that's my guy. That's my friend, like, outside of rap, you know what I mean? A very good friend of mine, you know what I mean? But I'm actually going to the studio right now to finish a record for him. So yeah, that's what we doing.
That's amazing, man. I love the fact that you're utilizing your time. You taught us so much. I just want to do my wrap up while you're here, just for the audience, so that we can get the clippables for the video. So thank you so much for being here, dude. I feel like I've learned a lot from you already, and I barely know you. Anytime in the future you want to come back, you're welcome. We'd love to have you and learn more from you, because I know there's so much more to you. There's so many other things we could talk about that we could learn from that. It's not even related to your career, dude, because your brain is deep and your knowledge is vast, and that's the kind of shit I love. So again, thank you for all the knowledge nuggets. Thank you for being here. All of y'all watching this in future platforms, make sure you go check him out. Make sure you go fucking buy his cologne. Make sure when his music drops, you're supporting that and you fucking following that and all of that. Leave your comments below with your questions, because we will come back. We're going to have clips of this coming in the future. We're going to have the big edited video coming later on down the line. Thank you for blessing us and making our because you know what, here's the truth. People know who you are, so you made us more credible by being here on the stream. I don't even know if you understand how deep that goes for us. You added credibility to my shit, dude.
It worked both ways, because there's a lot of people that don't know who I am. So I hope if it's whoever's in this chat that doesn't know who I am.
Are you still with us?
he's going through a little pocket, but yeah, he's still.
Yeah, cool. And yes, Spades, I'm setting up to raid Blaster, so don't take off all of y'all on the Twitch. We are going to head out to DJ Blaster where the music's lit, and we're going to show love over there because that is Montreal fucking royalty, and y'all need to know who the fuck DJ Blaster is. Look up the Autobots. NDG, that is my neighborhood. He's from my hood. NDG is what it is in Montreal hip-hop history, all right? So in case you guys don't know, all right? So when you think of NDG, you think of Shades of Cultures, but you also think of the Autobots, and you also think of fucking DJ Blaster, and he is paving the way yet again, being one of the innovators of the Twitch revolution over here and whatnot. So yo, in case something happens, I think he did jump off the call because now Flacco is the main focus here. I just want to, wrap it up proper. Special thanks to the patrons, Ismail Gadamsi, Chris Powder, Jonathan Barnes, DJ Black Hurricane, Linda Williams, and Scribble. Your dub support will be due. If you do support us, hit that up at patreon.com/behindthatsuit. Follow us, like us, all that good shit. You know what it is. And yo, it's a fucking pleasure having you, though. So live long and fucking prosper, everyone.